All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Any additions to the agenda?
Good morning, Reeve and Council. We've got the updated agenda yesterday following yesterday's proceedings. All those items yesterday that we dealt with that require motions are under item number 7 on the agenda. Administration has no further additions.
And if we added that all up, that's all tied into the existing budget that you've given us, correct?
Items under number 7 would be in addition to the current budget that you see in front of you, the operating budget, that is.
So how do you folks want to do this? Do you want to tally up to see what that is and then see what's left in the overall budget? Kara?
Yeah, we could do it that way. Because that's just the operating, we still have the capital side too. And that stuff is not, the RFDs that we have not gone through on the capital side, or that's not included in the budget either, correct?
I think she was waiting for a response from you there, Rudy.
Yeah, that's correct. And what I was looking at is I think I'll defer to Mr. Swap, but I believe even some of those items in number 7 would be considered capital, would they not? The Rocky Rapids Hall demolition, for example.
Go ahead, Colin.
To the Reeve and Council. So essentially, those items, just using that Rocky Rapids Hall, it would meet our capital threshold, but it's not our asset, so it would be a non-capital asset in that regard. The CEO there, Mr. Friesen, was correct in that items under number 7 are not currently funded within that operating budget. I do have a quick tally. The financial requirement, if say council were to fund every single one of those items, would be $375,492.
I think my caution would be, until we see what is on the capital side too as well, we need to see the whole picture before we start deciding, and we haven't gone through quite through all the capital yet, right? Correct?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about last
Yeah,
night.
I say no motions until we go what's being presented, what the additions are in both the operating and the capital.
That makes sense to me. Is that good with you guys too? Okay, I see lots of head jiggles in the right way. So need those little bobbleheads. All right, so we'll just pause on the interim and take a look at the capital maybe. Are you prepared for that? Colin? Okay. So just with the information we were just given there, 350,000 approximately. Yeah, I'm just asking a question. The 350,000 that was just quickly tallied up there, what does that add up for the total interim budget? Or the operating budget?
As in addition to the operating budget as it currently stands?
Yes, so the 7 items that we had there that was just tallied up to 350,000.
Yes, so that it's 375. So let me just do quick.
And then Glenn, I'll go to you and you can approve the agenda if that's what you were planning on doing. Okay.
So in addition to the operating budget the council was presented with yesterday, that would bring the total expenses to $27,303,016. So 27303,016.
Okay, Glenn, go ahead.
Thank you, Reeve. I move to approve the November 26, 2025 Brazeau County 2026 interim budget discussion agenda as presented.
Interim operating and capital, right? Glenn?
Just reading the top of the page there, Reeve. It just says the 2026 interim budget discussion agenda. Did you want to do something different, or?
No, I guess that covers both of them anyway.
Okay, well, I'll keep the motion as presented.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimous. All right, so I guess we're going to dabble into the capital budget now. Pardon me?
Prior to getting into this RFD, we're just going to present a road surface, little bit of information session. Felt that there's been lots of conversations about road surfaces with the public and with council, so it'd be a good time just to touch base, review, and chat prior to getting into all the road RFDs. I'm not sure if we could pull, so on the agenda yesterday, there was a road surface info sheet that was attached to it. Pull it up on the screen. The second, third page, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so myself and Dave Cadwell here to present, and then welcome any discussion or questions about any of this. Put some basic information in this document, just as a placeholder, but love some conversation around it as well. So gravel surface, so we have two specs of gravel that we use within the county, 420 and a 440. Descriptions there of what that means. 420 is often used as displacement on road surfaces that have no other surface preparation. And 440 is used in conjunction with road builds and soft areas as a base material. We go down to SB90. So SB90 is a product we've used in the past. We have on a number of our roads. We, from previous administration direction, we're not currently using this product on going forward, but we do have access to the product still and can do repairs on these surfaces. And I know there was discussions about how those repairs are going to be done, so we'll chat about that in a bit as well. It is a dust suppression product, primarily used in subdivisions and lower traffic areas. 3 to 5 year lifespan before needing to be reapplied. And following, going through this sheet, I will go through some examples of where this product is and how we're finding it's working. Next, we go to microsurfacing. Extends the life cycle of paved surfaces up to 10 additional years before overlay required. We are finding that in some circumstances, it will extend the life surface well beyond, well beyond 10 years. Could be up to 30 years or so on some pavement. We go into Cape Seal. So it's two-part surface treatment consisting of one layer of chip seal and a layer of microsurfacing. It is traditionally used on asphalt surfaces, but it has been used within the county, applied to stabilized gravel roads. So step 1, applying the chip seal to seal the surface. Step 2, after 2-3 weeks of it curing, applying the microsurfacing. Typical lifespan 3 to 7 years. We definitely are seeing some concerns with Cape Seal within Brazeau County and how it's working or not working. So again, we'll get into the examples of that afterwards. Repair, the manufacturer, they've even said that no repair treatment is being suggested other than remilling the entire surface. So that's definitely something we're battling with here. Asphalt, hard surface placed on roads that have been rebuilt to a paving specification. Average lifespan 20 to 25 years, and we're seeing good success of extending that life with the microsurfacing. Dust suppression, we're currently using MG30, product used to suppress dust, not fully alleviate it, but suppress it. We do have a dust suppression program for residents, so at a highly subsidized rate, they can get dust suppression outside the residence, 200 meters, 100 meters on each side of the driveway, to safely get off the residence onto the roads. And yeah, so we'll continue to support the trial and evaluation of new surface products. It's recommended that new products, materials, and application techniques are considered experimental until long-term performance evaluations are completed. Just want to have some conversations around that because we've tended to do some trial products, but then we've continued using them for a number of years over a number of surfaces. And instead of just maybe containing it to one or two, well-determined spots, and then having a full evaluation and feedback on those areas. So going back to the beginning on SB 90. So West Bank Acres is an example of where it's worked very well. We're having very few issues with it. Rex Block subdivision. So some of these lighter traffic areas, just residential traffic, we do see that it works well. And there is areas where it's failing. Buck Creek area, Range Road 71, south of 616. Fennell Road, 600 meters north of 480A. You can kind of see that the product's failing at times there. And I know there's been questions from council about how we're going to do repairs with SB 90s. I don't know if Dave's able to speak to that.
So, good morning, council.
Morning.
And Reeve. With our discussions with the supplier of the product, the oil product, we've come up with a plan for 2026 to do some maintenance repairs to the SB 90 areas that are still holding very well. Cottonwood Acres, Joshua Boulevard, north and south. Those are two of the areas that we are looking at strongly, where we can bring in a supply of the emulsion, rip up the existing material that we've placed on the road already, through the guidance of the supplier. He will inform us whether we need to add any additional aggregate or if we can remix what is in place. So we're not losing the material. We did speak with him quite a bit last year. He inspected those two areas for us, said he felt that they were both strong potential roads that could be rejuvenated on site with what's there. So that's our plans. The product, when we first started using it, they said 3 to 5 years. On heavy use roads, I don't feel we got 5 years. We got that 2.5 to 3 years. We're up over 10 years now on some of our subdivisions where we have not reapplied it. We've been able to just go in, scratch the surface, repack it, and it survived. So it is a product that is usable for us. At the time, it was price-wise not so nice to use because they did ask for a large amount of money to have a stockpile on site. And that was their strong suggestion to us at the time, was to make sure we had a stockpile available for repairs, which we no longer have any. So that's why we've gone back to the contractor and asked how we can repair what we have. And he says he can do it on site. No stockpiles required. So it's something we do want to bring forward for this year.
So can you tell us which roads are working good there? Like, just from my own observation, I've seen 485 that seems to be holding up, a few potholes starting to show. 83 doesn't seem to be holding up as well. The edges are kind of breaking off. 495, the edges are breaking off. That's just from my observation, but have we got any good examples? I mean,
So the roads you just spoke of are not SB 90. Those are the Cape Seal roads.
okay,
Two different products we're talking with.
Right.
So we will talk about that a little further down the discussion here. The SB 90 roads are Range Road 85 south of 620 is one that's holding up very well. Range Road 63 south of Highway 39. 70% holding well, 30% we've had to do some maintenance on right off the pavement going up the hill. Like I said before, Cottonwood Acres, it is got the potholes in it, but for the most part, the surface is there. Joshua Boulevard, north and south, again, a few minor potholes on that one, but overall, the product is there and working well.
I knew you knew what I was thinking, not what I'm saying. You gotta always think about what I'm thinking, not what I'm saying.
And keep in mind, following this, Kyle and Dave have got an extensive evaluation of all the roads with the different surfaces, which ones work well, which ones don't, so I can definitely share this out in an email if there's interest in that after as well. And yeah, part of the reason of wanting to present this too is we'll get calls from the residents saying my pavement or something, so just trying to decipher the difference here. Not all the blacktops means is pavement, so just trying to, when you get the calls from the residents, as to what the surface actually is.
Okay, and remember always just to take a breath every once in a while. Kara?
Through the chair to administration, I think more of just a comment with the SB 90, from what I can see in certain areas, it seemed to, and I agree, it seemed to be very successful in traffic, especially in subdivisions, if the base was good. One area that I did, and I think it wasn't noted, but we had, and I would call it a complete failure, but correct me if I'm using the wrong terminology, but east of Rocky Rapids on Township 500, we'd put I think we'd done a half mile there, and that completely failed. But I would argue that the base road there is also probably what the issue was too. So, because we have lots of problems, and I know that's a high maintenance road too as well, so.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that. All of these products, there needs to be conversations about what the base is prior to determining what products put on there. Not all product works on every base, and there may be some extra work that's required to the base before applying a certain product. That combined with looking at what type of traffic's down the road. Is it light residential? Is there industrial? Is there a lot of trucks going to a lagoon? Is there oil field traffic? That makes a big difference in what surface you want to choose.
And you know, when you hear comments from the politicians, everybody knows how to build roads except for the staff. That's generally the thinking, okay? We all know how to grade roads and build roads better than staff, and I'm saying that facetiously, but, so don't get offended if we,
No, it's all good. This is good conversation today,
we
right?
tell you how to do things, so.
Yeah. Okay, the microsurfacing. Microsurfacing, we're having good success with this, we feel like. Examples of where it's holding up well. Range Road 73, between Township 492 and Muir Ave, was done in June of 2021 with no surface repairs having to be done to it, just regular crack sealing, which is a general maintenance procedure we do every year. The product's working as intended. And not a lot of concerns with the microsurfacing. So if there are roads that you're looking to put asphalt on, it is a large cost up front for the asphalt. However, the life can be extended for quite a long time once we have a good base and with the microsurfacing applications after. Cape Seal. Cape Seal, we have on a number of roads. We're not finding that it is holding up well. We say lifespan typically 3 to 7 years. I feel like it was initially sold at 7 to 10 years. Is that right?
Correct.
But
Yeah.
we're not seeing 7 to 10 years. In some cases, not even seeing 1 to 2 years. This one is a good example of definitely the base preparation. It doesn't work in all areas. It doesn't work with all outside of light residential traffic. Definitely anything, heavier traffic, that's where you mentioned, Reeve, about the breaking down the edges and such. definitely an ongoing problem. Township 495 between 71 and 73, it's failing. Township Road 480 between 71 and 72. You mentioned 83, so have a number of examples there. So you'll see in our 5-year capital plan, we don't have many recommendations of cape sealing, and I do have asphalt in there for that reason. Open to looking at other products, but like, we definitely not recommend the cape seal. Or if we're gonna do it, doing a full investigation of it. We did chat to some companies at RMA at the trade show, found some good information. We do have a contact of someone who's, roads of interest, will come out at no cost and do some testing on some of the bases of the roads we're talking about and give some feedback as to recommendations and if cement stabilization is an option, what base might be, what might be an option for some of those roads. Yeah. I think that's kind of what I wanted to throw out there, and was there any other questions or kind of conversation you wanted to have around this?
What about from our fusion engineer there? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, get him on there, get him on the table so that.
So my question is, how does it pencil out? Cape Seal, microsurfacing, SB90, how does it pencil out in comparison to gravel, dust control, regular maintenance, regular gravel going down, updating gravel? Because once I see the initial cost up front, we only get 3 years out of Cape Seal. It doesn't pencil out for me, so how does it pencil?
So again, to council and the Reeve, in our opinion at this time, Cape Seal does not pencil out. With what we are seeing on any of the surfaces we've tried, with the recommended repairs that they are saying now where we have to use asphalt to repair it, we call it a dust control product still. That's not pencil happy. A gravel surface to me is maintainable on a day-to-day basis. A dust-controlled road with different products, and we are always willing to try new products that are out there, is still maintainable with our equipment. We're not hiring contractors to come and repair it. So SB90, I'll go back to that one again. It is maintainable using our equipment. Now that we've done more investigations on it, dealt with it a little bit more. Microseal, I feel that is a product that's going to extend our asphalt surfaces from the 20 years that we're starting with. I'm feeling up to, I'm going to say, they're saying we can apply it at least minimum 2 times before an overlay. We're looking at 50 years, 30, 40 years before an overlay is required, as long as our base stays in place. So that is a product and a service that I foresee being used more and more. I'm still a pretty firm believer in gravel surfaces on the roads.
And
Glenn?
Well, thank you, Reeve. Yeah, the Cape Seal, I wish that should just be removed from even the list of things here. The SB90, I think if it works in some of the smaller areas where just you have cars, but on 63, it's a failure. I don't like that material on a heavy industrial road at all. The edges bend up, they hold water, it's not maintainable, and it doesn't look good either. The microsurfacing, I agree that it looks great. Our residents are complaining about it heavily though, and in the regards that they believe we're doing an overlay on these highways, and they're constantly asking, why are you repaving? Why are you repaving? And I'm like, we're not repaving, we're just so that's the only complaint. It's a beautiful product, and I agree, this is gonna extend the lifetime, but our residents don't understand that. They honestly think that we're repaving these roads. and they're wondering why they're not getting new pavement on theirs, but yeah, the fielding those calls is interesting. Like I said, it's a great product. It's beautiful, and it goes on so quickly. It's, like I said, the residents, you got them bamboozled thinking that it's brand-new pavement. But yeah, it's really cool.
There are other benefits to high-quality dust control. You know, it's good for plant health, it's good for animal health, it's good for human health. You know, it's good for even vehicle health because you get about 40% more mileage on paved surfaces compared to gravel road. If you were a kid riding your bicycle on the gravel roads, if you remember when you hit pavement, it was like you didn't even have to try anymore. And that same factor is there with vehicles as well. There's actually energy savings that you get by having a hard surface in place. And just think about riding that bicycle on a muddy road, how hard that would be to actually do. It's the same thing with vehicles. We just step on the gas a little more, that's all. So there is other factors that are a benefit to having a good surface on the road besides just the economics. So there you go, thermal fusion engineer. Go ahead, Dallas.
Okay, I would definitely not disagree. So let's just talk a little bit about maintenance then, repair work. So we can do the repair on the SB 90. We can't do asphalt repair, right? We'll have to contract that out.
Correct.
That needs to be done. And microsurfacing, that's not for us. And of course, Cape Seal. So Cape Seal is one of the products that we've used in the past, and when it fails, do we contract that out to be repaired, or do we do that repair ourselves?
So to Councillor Ekstrom.
Dave, can you just talk a little bit? I'm old and getting deaf, so.
Okay, so to Councillor Ekstrom, Cape Seal. We can do minor repairs of potholing. Minor rutting we can do with the use of cold mix. Yeah, when it gets to deep rutting and when it starts breaking away on the edges, the only suggestion from the contractor is asphalt. Can we bring in a load of asphalt and place it in with a grader in certain areas? Yes. Or a bobcat? Yes. But if it's for large, extensive lengths, we're not really into the asphalt world. So small, quick patches, yes, we can repair. When it gets to more than a load, I'm going to say we're going to start stepping past our boundaries, right?
Okay. So what is our most current price on asphalt surfacing? I know that's a loaded question. It depends on a number of different factors, but is there a baseline that we're using?
To Councillor Ekstrom, I believe it's $150 a ton was
150 ton hot mix.
hot mix, yes.
And how far away is it? Edmonton?
Stony Plain.
Stony?
Yeah. Any of the work that we've done this year with the contractors, it all came from Stony Plain.
Yep.
Through border paving. Our cold mix product that we do purchase through border runs us at $121 a ton for the cold mix.
And is that closer here at one of the border paving pits?
No, that still comes from
Oh,
Stony
same
Plain.
place.
Yeah.
Okay. Kara?
Thank you. Through the chair to administration, just looking for clarification, just getting mixed information. SB 90 is successful, correct? Yeah, sorry, so it's being successful
Yes.
as long as it's applied in the correct areas. Cape Seal is not being successful, right?
Correct.
Doesn't matter what we do, we're just not seeing the benefits of it. It's, and microsurfacing is successful, again, as long as we have the base and it's being applied properly, correct?
So microsurfacing is only placed on top of asphalt.
Okay.
So we are definitely sure that our base is good and it's 100% success.
Okay. Thank you.
Dallas?
Okay, so I have another question. I'm going to be the bad police today. What does it cost to pulverize and return a surface like Cape Seal to gravel? The pulverization as well? Because I saw a nice machine there at the RMA convention and that machine is for pulverizing. Do we have an idea what that would be?
So off the top of my head, I can't tell you that right now. We could definitely find that out in a pretty quick hurry. The contractors that did come in and do our Cape Seal work for us this year did give us a separate rate for the pulverizer, so I could give you that fairly quick
Okay, I'd
today.
be really interested in that.
Now, is that pulverizing or is that rejuvenating the asphalt? I'm not sure what you're asking for there.
Pulverizing.
So that would be pulverizing the existing surface, Cape Seal surface, placing it back into the gravel, mixing it all together, and just ending up with a gravel surface again.
So what do you call the rejuvenating of asphalt when they grind that up?
So
Is that
that-
pulverizing too?
It is, they call that a milling machine. That's milled.
Oh,
That's
milling, okay.
Call it a
Yes.
planer, yeah.
This is a test, David. It has nothing to do with the budget. It's just.
This is not
We
a
were just
test.
testing your knowledge. Glenn, did you have your light on? No. One more question.
Okay, so. Okay, so it's not unreasonable to expect or believe that we could pulverize a surface, that we have an existing surface, Cape Seal, SB90, whatever it is, even asphalt, it could be pulverized and turned back to gravel.
That is 100% correct.
Oh boy, do I have a story for you.
All right, carry on. Sorry for interrupting, but we got to
No,
get this
this is
stuff
good.
out.
This is what we wanted, to just have a placeholder here and have this conversation. A lot of this information will come up again in the next few reports that we have. So, yeah, it was great to cover this. And then we can kind of go over it a little bit more as it comes up in the next few reports we have. Unless there's any other questions. Okay.
The only thing I'm doing is, Colin, I'd like you to get us a thermometer. I mean, this will come out wrong. So, just on what money we've got available and where we're at, and as we take a look at these projects, how many projects can we afford, to do within the scope of what we have for money without raising taxes?
And then to the even to council, just to, kind of provide a little clarity on that. So currently, there's two funding sources that council can tap into to fund projects that they wish throughout this budget. As mentioned, the restricted reserve sheet does have the operating surplus I had mentioned yesterday put into it, and you will find that within your engineered structures account, and as well as we've put some in the equipment replacement account. So essentially the balances on the far right column, the 2026 projected closing, that is the funds available for council to select projects they choose to do. We do have, and I guess I should have explained this maybe for some of the new council, the way that we've kind of got this split up. Of course, as we mentioned, council does have full control over the reserves. Administration's kind of broken it up in a little bit on, if you're going to look for some funds, we would suggest looking under the one listed under unrestricted reserves. And so with those, we have added the funds. We've added you'll see 698,878. That's come forward from the operating budget as well, in the roads. But we would kind of point the eyes towards that grouping there. On the very top, where it has restricted reserves, these amounts are, water capital, sewer capital, items that we have raised these funds for a specific purpose. So we would ask council not to tap into these ones here, as they're kind of on that long-term asset management planning we have for replacement of essential services. But we would look more to that bottom grouping there under the unrestricted reserves. So that is the funds council has available. But on top of that, each year through LGFF, I'm trying to forget what the acronym is now here, but you replace the MSI program that was previous in that place. Thank you very much,
ahead,
Councillor
Kara.
Wesley.
Local government fiscal framework.
Perfect. And so with that, plus we also have, we have some allocations with that, and as well as we have it was the old gas tax funds there. Council has an additional $2.7 million in capital grants that we receive. And so that can be used in addition to the restricted reserves you see in front of you. And so those are for capital projects only. We can't use that for anything in the operating, and we can't use it to purchase equipment. It has to be used for roads and some other capital items that the county wishes to pursue there. So you would have your restricted reserve sheet in front of you, as well as approximately $2.7 million in capital funding.
Thanks, Colin. It's nice you got that right off the top of your head. We don't have to send you away and find it, so appreciate the knowledge. Go ahead, Glenn.
Does council want to carve out $1 million for the ice plant? That's going to be coming up December 2nd. Do we want to do that now, or do we want to spend it all and then debenture that, or just not do it? So I know that we haven't talked about it, haven't done it, but do you want to just put $1 million to the side? Because I know that that's going to be an issue we're going to face right off the giddy up. Just the timing is terrible for it.
Like everything else, Glenn, we're putting everything on the table right now, and then council's gonna have to decide which is the priorities they think are the most important for our citizens. So, and debenturing may be a way, because if it lasts 30 years, why would you have today's group pay for the whole thing, where you let it be paid for over a debenture, so that people along the way are paying for that particular facility, you know, as the years go by. That's always a philosophy that you gotta take a look at. Do you hang the whole bill on today's population, or do you spread that bill out over 20 or 30 years for the public that will be using it over that time? So it's good to bring it forward, but it's on the table, I would suggest, and so is everything else. And then we're going to get down into picking out the things that we think we can afford. Carol.
Through administration to, to administration through the reeve. Just to kind of give the Coles Note version of what we have here for surfacing. So basically we have our gravel roads where we can do dust suppression on them in an effective manner. And we have our asphalt roads where we can microsurface to extend the life. And the items in between that, the Cape Seal is a no-go. And the SB 90 only works in light areas, light traffic areas, like subdivisions, et cetera. Is that kind of the gist of what we have to work with?
You're a
That's
good
correct.
listener, Carol.
Yeah, that is correct. The SB 90, like Dave mentioned, we don't have a current stockpile of it, but we are able to maintain and repair the areas that are like that already, and we're open to, then that is an option for future surfaces, because it has shown success. But we just looked to do a full evaluation of those surfaces prior to making that decision.
Yeah, keep going, your light's on there, Carol, you got more to say?
Well, that's not very positive if we're looking at trying to maintain some of the roads that we have the Cape Seal on and the SB 90 that might not have been productive to put those on those surfaces. So I'm going to have to agree a little bit. I agree with Councillor Ekstrom on going back to the gravel roads. It'd be cheaper to maintain, and you know we could run a lot of water trucks down a gravel road to keep the dust down for the price of asphalt in some cases. However, we do have roads that we need to deal with that need maintenance, and I'll speak of my road 83 that needs work. Now, when we're applying these products, would it not be to our best interest to make sure that we are doing the base to asphalt grade prior to applying any products when we're going forward? I think in the Cape Seal situation, that might have been the case on 83. The road wasn't properly prepared, properly compacted and widened, and then we put the Cape Seal on, and now we have it breaking out and problems, and we're going to have to go back in, strip that all off, rebuild that base, and put the asphalt down, because that's what I'm going for. But when we're looking forward to doing any other road project, should we not make sure that we're building those roads to a proper grade and a proper compaction so that we have something in the future to work with.
Yeah, through Reeve to Councillor Vogt. Yes, and that's, I think, what we're talking about here today is just administration being a bit more involved in, maybe sometimes on the reports, you're going to see our recommendations about holding back, doing a full investigation, really looking at the base. I mentioned being in contact with the company, they'll come do some testing of the base. I think sometimes, maybe in the past, not speaking for anyone, but that surfaces were chosen without a full evaluation of the base, of the traffic, like a more holistic approach of what should go down there. So we're looking at that now, and that's what we're kind of presenting today. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Reeve, and to Councillor. So yeah, our last year, we had $21 million in that far right column. And this year, we've only got 17 million, right? So we've got less money to play with this year. So yeah, any talk about, you know, I understand Range Road 83's kind of got some broken out spots, but I would still take that road over my gravel road. I'd still take that dust suppressant. I'd be happy with it. So to bring it up, there's just the danger that we will bring in that milling machine and it will be returned to gravel because it's cheaper. So yeah, we just have to be careful. We don't have a lot of money to play with and we got a lot of expenses. So I know that we'd like to pave all of the roads, but we just have to be careful because you gotta, if you bring it up, it could go sideways, right? Where it gets milled, where it's got good dust control on it now and it's reasonably decent, but it could go back to where it's just gravel.
To Reeve and Council, I will note that on the 5-year capital plan, I believe Range Road 83 is on the capital plan for 2027, but open to discussions what Council wishes to, what they'd like to do and when, so.
Of life for the people that live along the roads. The people that live along these busy roads, they're not creating the dust. They're just trying to pay for something to stop the dust from rolling into their houses. And so it's easy to say it's cheaper to go to gravel, but life is hell on a gravel road. And you also have your shoulder pulling that you got to pay for on top, whereas when you have the top capped and surface off, usually the road doesn't squish out as much if you've got a good base there. So there's other factors to bring in, and like I said, animal health, people health, plant health. Particular 2.5 is a bad particle size, and that's what dust is. So, and a lot of people don't have the luxury, like what you said, Glenn. You would take a shitty paved road over a gravel road any day. So, you have to wait, Dallas. I'm going to go to Aria.
Through the chair to administration, not to beat this to death and just forgive my ignorance, but we're saying that the bases aren't done to spec, but I'm just wondering why.
I should clarify, so the bases, and you'll see this in my next report, as a gravel road, from our evaluations, the base is a great base and it's a great gravel road. But then some of these treatments, such as Cape Seal, experimental product, we've tried it, we've determined, okay, it doesn't work on this base. So some of the roads, and the next report will show that the base was rated excellent on our rating system with all the criteria based on being gravel road. The next year, when it was rated based on a Cape Seal road, now it's down to poor condition. So
it's more so because it's kind of a new product. We're just figuring that out as we go. That's kind of what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So and that's why I was going back to the beginning. So it's new to us in here talking about this, and I'm new to this year with this council. But just wanted to stress that sometimes the experimental or the trials, they've gone on a little bit too long without a full evaluation and feedback, right? So just limiting those trials to certain areas, really looking at where the best place to do those trials are. And you'll see that in some of the coming reports, we have some suggestions on this would be a great place for a trial because of X, Y, Z. And then having 1 to 2 years of information then to bring back and determining if that's a good fit for our roads, for our area going forward.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
All done, Aria? Just before I go to Dallas, we could do a poll on Range Road 495 for Township Road 495 and 83, and do a poll with all the people that live there and say, would you rather we go back to gravel? And that's a real acid test right there. And if they want to go back to gravel, then that's easy to accommodate. Dallas,
I agree with you.
you agree?
I do agree with you. Yep. There are a number of variables that go into roads. Many variables. And it's all right for us to beat this to death because it's incredibly expensive. There's a lot of money on the table. So that we can't talk about it enough, honestly. But when it comes to road upgrade, and I know Dave is being very kind and patient with us. Thank you. Because we're going to tell you everything we know about roads. But I'll just use Range Road 53, for example, the Greenwood Lake Road. That was a good, high-grade, good quality road. But we upgraded it to an asphalt surface. Got widened. We put a big bridge file replacement in there, and then we put a meter on top. That was over a $10 million expenditure in order to get that road paved. So it takes quite a bit to stabilize a base, to bring it up to par, to get it ready for asphalt, to make it what it needs to be. It's a large undertaking. And when we do that, there's nothing wrong with that. We love 53. A lot of residents on there, high traffic count. But that's what I'm getting at. We need to have the right criteria before we bring a refreshed surface to a road. It needs to be, the traffic count needs to be there. The type of vehicle that's on that road needs to be. We need to look at that, consider that. Is heavy traffic? How much heavy traffic? What is it? What criteria are we meeting? What boxes are we ticking before we go ahead and make the expenditure?
Go ahead, Carol.
Thank you, Dallas. I agree with you on that. We need to have some set rules in place and not be, excuse the terminology, but flying by the seat of our pants when it comes to road restructuring or re-maintenance. However, I also think that we need to be looking at the roads that we have and whether or not we're maintaining them to a quality standard before we start looking at building new roads in new areas. I think that that's important, that we be able to maintain the assets that we have before we start creating more assets that we can't maintain. So, yeah, whether or not that means taking 83 back to gravel, I wouldn't suggest that. I would rather leave the Cape Seal on that at this point. However, it was in the strategic plan to have it done in 2027, sorry, and I guess we'll go from there, because the idea was that was going to be prepped for that. That's why they were putting the Cape Seal on, and we were going to look at paving it down the road. Now, I understand that needs change, requirements change throughout our community, and we need to address that. But we also need to look at a long-term plan. I'd like to see an asset management plan that is a little bit more detailed going forward from this council. Thank you.
Okay, you guys are back in the saddle.
Okay. So I think if everyone's good with that topic, we can go on to the next report, Township 495, between 71 and 73.
Pippa, you have a soft voice and I like to hear it, but I can't, so you have to be a little closer.
I'm going
to
to
the mic.
switch and sit down just so we can bring some stuff onto the screen here.
Okay.
And then I'll be closer to the microphone. Okay, so we are on page 29 now. Township 195 between 71 and 73, that was administration's just seeking further direction on this project. So a bit of a history on it. November 21st, 2024, Council Director Administration to bring back the full cost of rehabilitation. And we did contract a third party to do a full geotechnical investigation on that. We brought back a report that was received for information, and then September of this year, 2025, brought back the report, the full geotechnical investigation report, which is following, it starts on page 32. So the report does include two options. Option A, the reconstruction and removal and replacement, is the optimal one. There's only a second option because it was part of the motion, so we did ask the company to provide a second option, which is the asphalt overlay. They did note that as a 7 to 10-year life estimate. Administration believes that would only be a 3 to 5 year life estimate, though. So the recommendation would be the reconstruction, removal, and replacement of the 20-year pavement design. And then, as we mentioned, that could be extended with the microsurfacing in the future past the 2025-year design. On page 30, you'll notice our road assessment information. So this is a new thing we built this year, and you'll see it on any road reports, is the road assessment information. There's that little graphic with the road condition rating. So there is a separate criteria for gravel roads, and then for hard surfaces, and we rate them. So some information that wasn't available in time for this report. You'll see the ratings on this show 8.2 excellent and 8.3 excellent. The dates on that are August 2024. So that rating is based on when this road was a gravel road. This road has Cape Seal on it now. So there was, the most recent evaluation that was done on this road was October 24th, 2025. So on the first one, the road ID between 71 and 72, it rates a 2.4 now, which is fair. And on 72 to 73, that rates 0.7, which is poor. So that's the most up-to-date information on that one there. And let's get into something here.
We need to make more money. Kara, you got a issue there? Sorry, I didn't see your green light.
Okay. My question through the chair to administration, can you talk a little bit about the amount of traffic on this road and the type of traffic?
There is a lot of residential traffic down the road, but there is also a lot of traffic to the lagoon at the end, so you do have a lot of heavier traffic going down there, as well as oil field traffic going down there as well. So would this worked a little bit better had it just been residential traffic? Perhaps, but it is not just residential traffic down this road. Yeah.
Yeah, just want to build on that, so it's just so it's new council, so they're aware, it's our lagoon, and we're the ones putting the trucks on the road too as well. And I believe the oil field activity is due near the end of this road, I believe. How many wells are not tied into a pipeline there? There's quite a few back in there.
I don't know how many, but
So-
yeah, you're correct with the first comment that it is our lagoon.
Okay.
And there's a lot of oil field traffic down there. As to how many wells, do you know, Dave? I don't have a number.
There's a plant on the. So to Councillor Westland, the lagoon is on the first
Well,
asset, 72 to 73. The plant is on the second asset, which is 72 to 70, 71 to 72. So through the issues we've been having with this road, I've placed a ban on the first section to allow the lagoon haulers to access our lagoon. We will not stop that service. It's necessary. I think it's mandatory. So that service will always be there. But what I've done to attempt to maintain a better surface on the far east asset is place a road ban against the oil company there, which they follow and do assist us with some maintenance on 71, because that's the way I push them. I don't let them come up using 495. I do make them go around. So we do try to split the traffic so it is not running right through.
Thank you. I'm just trying to paint the picture. This is an incredibly busy road with a high residential area. I could get out and count, if you want, I can go count all the residences along there, but this is a highly busy road. What is the width of the top of the road? Because if you drive on that road, you're meeting not only light traffic, but heavy, big trucks. It seems narrow. Is it on a 66-foot right-of-way? Do we know? It seems narrow. Let me tell you, when I'm in my SUV and I meet a big truck, I'm pulling over. Like, we can't pass each other doing road speed. We both of us have to slow down and in some cases, depending on the size of the truck, I honestly take half the ditch.
So through the chair to Councillor Westland, I do believe that we have widening on that one. I believe it's 100-foot right-of-way.
Okay.
It is built to the 7.5-meter road top. So when the road was rebuilt, it was rebuilt to our standard gravel size, which is 7.5 meters. Through the different processes of dust suppressant products we have placed on the road, we have placed a nice crown on that road to keep the water flowing on it. So yes, it probably feels that the road is skinny, but it is actually 7.5 meters.
Okay, thank you.
Especially with the new council, we need the data for all these roads, the tops, the services, the road counts, what type of traffic, all the things that Kara asked. For any of these projects that we're looking at going forward, I would suggest we might have been more political in the past, and partly my fault. Instead of using data as the criteria for doing roads. And so I think once you have that and that data, it'll lend an argument to the political stances that are sometimes taken. And not blaming anybody, but we've never gone to this sort of extent where we're going to start using data as a means for doing things. But blending with that, because generally everything closest to Drayton Valley is going to have a higher road count because all roads lead to Rome. So there's still that divisional sort of fairness that we have to try to get out there, but still starting to look at data, you know, as a criteria. Like I said, if we use strictly data, there won't be any roads built out in Cynthia or Lodgepole because all of the traffic converges here and it'll always have a higher count here than someplace else. So we've got to be fair to the Dallases and the Shanes and Glens and Carols, you know, as well. Okay, that lit up everything here. Good. All right, so Kara, then Aria, then, and sorry I'm taking so long here, but I'm really trying to get a base of thinking so that we can apply that as we pick projects down the road. So go ahead, Kara.
Yeah, and I appreciate that methodology too as well, but the other piece to that needs to be taken into consideration too is the amount of taxes some people are paying too as well. Yeah, you pay a lot more in certain areas because of where you live, and you expect services to be a different level. If I choose to live 45 minutes from town, I also pay a lot cheaper property prices, a lot cheaper property taxes, and have less services because of that. So there's a choice in all of that too as well.
Aria?
Thank you, through the chair to administration. So you mentioned the oil field companies, or company, I'm not sure, that are at the end of the road there. They assist with maintenance. Can you elaborate on that?
So through the chair to Councillor Aria, when requested, the oil company, from us, the oil company will supply us gravel. We will blade it. They do pay to haul it there and drop it for us. When we request additional dust control, the oil companies are usually more than willing to pay for the costs of the dust control. We're all about keeping a great working relationships between the public and the businesses. We all know we live in Drayton Valley, and Drayton Valley was built around oil fields. So the oil companies in general are very happy to assist any way that we can keep the residents happy.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
All done, Eric?
Yep.
Dallas?
Thanks, Reeve. Yeah, we are facts-based decision makers, absolutely. That's what we have to strive to be all the time, every time. Everybody pays fair taxes in Brazeau County. That's the system that we have. Everybody pays their share. There's no way that you can say that you deserve or deserve more or less. It doesn't work. Infrastructure that is present in Rocky Rapids for Lagoon, we have infrastructure buried, piping that takes effluent to the lagoon, right? So that's being serviced. The lagoon, the other trucks that are bringing effluent in or other material, it's not always fluid, are coming from various places, which I guess we can probably have some of that information later, because that's kind of the contributing factor to why I have a little bit of road failure here.
Well, the ones that don't have connections to the lagoon
Yeah.
are like the, Amigos and those guys there.
Right.
They're still providing a sewage service to the people that don't have a line connected.
That's right.
So they have the same, I would say, right as us pumping in there as well, because they're providing that to all those people that don't have a pipeline
Yeah.
going out. So
Yeah,
that's where most of the traffic is gonna come from.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a complex formula.
Yeah.
But there was some misinformation put out there that the base of this road is not a good quality base. But with the geotechnical and the core sampling that we've done, that has been disproved, correct? Because the material that we've drawn out of that road in these core samples has given us the information that the road base is satisfactory and good.
So through the chair to Councillor Ekstrom, the core samples that we have had taken on 495, they have gone down into the subgrade. Yes, subgrade is pretty good. Between subgrade and road top is where 90% of all of our concerns on that road is coming from. So we're talking the top 2 meters of road, 2 meters and deeper. For the most part, is good product. That is the original product of the road that was there prior to any upgrades that were done.
And none of this is accusatory, Dave, just so people don't get offended. It's just asking questions, so. You all done, Dallas?
I think
Your light's
so.
still on.
Clear as mud. So what I'm getting at is, what are we going to do with that? What are we going to do with that above sub material? Like, that material is still satisfactory for the road that we have, or are we actually looking at changing that material? Because that's the $64,000 question.
So through the chair to Councillor Ekstrom, to maintain a gravel surfaced road, the material that is in place will work. To maintain any other road surface other than gravel,
Challenging, okay. No further
we
questions.
will need to remove a minimum of 2 meters of material
Okay.
and bring in correct material.
All right, thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Is the option of using that ground-up concrete into the asphalt the solution, or is that an expensive solution? Kind of like what you do on these roads that we kind of capped. We used concrete to stiffen up the subgrade.
So through the chair to the Reeve, that has been attempted on this road, and it is failing. In my honest opinion, the material that's on that road will not sustain anything heavy unless it's maintainable on a weekly basis.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. I think we're beating around the bush. If we're talking about putting this road back to gravel, what kind of maintenance would we need? I would suspect the maintenance would increase on this road because of the type of traffic that's on there and the amount of traffic that's on there. It has been a gravel road in the past, and that was an issue in the past for all of those things, the washboard and the dust, because of the constant flow of the big trucks through there, and as a residential area. Am I missing the point on that? And maybe that's, if we had a picture of the, I guess, the road counts on that road, it might paint a bit of a better picture of what's actually happening there.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Westland. No, I would not disagree with you. With remilling of the road surface that is there now, that is going to give us some dust suppressant.
For a bit.
I would love to try an alternative dust suppressant on that road that's workable. Not a hard surface dust control, a soft surface dust control that we could maintain every 2 or 3 days if required, until further choices are made for the road. I do believe if we pull the traffic counts that we have done on that road, it is quite high.
Yeah.
So not saying it does not rate a different road surface.
And you caught something that, maybe further discussion on that. If we need to maintain a road every 2 to 3 days, there's a cost to that too as well. And are we adding to our equipment fleet? Because that's going to put pressure on our already tasked grader operators and our operators and our equipment that's already out there trying to maintain and keep up with everything else. And now we're going to add them to roll them another road that needs a grader every 2 days.
We hope that we don't have to ever do that. That's the reasoning for putting a dust suppressant on the road, which will hold your shoulders somewhat. If it's a gravel surface, it will have a higher crown, which does allow water to flow better than a paved surface or a hard surface dust control road, where you're trying to make it more level. Gravel should have a higher crown to it than a paved surface, so it does make it a little harder to drive on, but in the long term, it does make it easier to maintain.
The best questioning I've seen in a budget process since I've been elected. Seriously, like, there's some very good questions coming out of this. Shane?
Through the chair to administration, how long have the lagoon, like the lagoon and the oil field there, how long has that been there? Forever? Not forever, but a significant amount of time?
So through the chair to Councillor
Pulaski?
Sorry. I've been here 36 years. The oil field's been here a lot longer than I have. And as for the lagoon's been here 36 years with quite an extensive expansion that took place. I will not say exact year, but that's when the new road was built to the lagoon and the upgrades to 495 were placed.
So traditionally, there's always been a lot of traffic, heavy truck traffic through that area.
Yes, there was an alternate access to that lagoon in years past, which right now we don't have that access to.
Okay. Because there's a lot of traffic. Is there traditional road counts before we paved that as well, 495? Or not right now, but just to put it out there, how much traffic was there before we paved it and then comparative to after we paved it?
Oh yes, we have traffic counts back at least 10 years for that road.
I'd be interested to see, because I know 53, there was probably not as much traffic on 53 until we paved it. And now I would much rather go on pavement than gravel. So is paving it increased truck traffic? That's my thought. Anyways.
Kara?
Sorry, and my comments should have made on the mic, so just for clarification, I believe Councillor Blosky asked about access. So the lagoon did have an alternate access route off of Range Road 73. However, it was a privately owned road, and I will tell you the landowner had enough because of the amount of traffic. Hence why they no longer allowed us to access there, because it was too busy.
That about, what, 9 years ago?
Yeah, the landowner
Yeah. More fact-based decision-making. Dallas?
Thank you, Reeve. Yeah, so we tried to improve the surface. It was pretty expensive, but it failed. But we tried to improve the surface, and it just didn't work. So now we're kind of back to where we are at, and $4 million to kind of get this to where we need is something we can't afford. We're going to have to, in my opinion, pulverize that surface and turn it back to gravel, get a nice crown on it, give it the maintenance that it deserves. And in my opinion, I would say that Public Works is doing a really good job of maintaining roads throughout Brazeau County. A lot of the people that I talk to say thank you, and they're really appreciative, and they value the effort and the cost that goes into maintaining roads. And you know what, I guess if we're short a grader beat, like, I don't know if that's down the road, like if we're short a grader, we need another crew to stick another beat in there and kind of change our boundaries a little bit. Maybe that's something we need to consider to do. I don't mind elevating that service level. That's something we can consider. But yeah, we can't afford to put a new surface on this road for $4 million.
So with all the paving we did, that helped to reduce the number of graders we needed. I know we've built some new roads and stuff as well, but we've paved, what, close to 200 miles of road now that we used to look after. You know, since I'm going back, it's a long time, so, but that might be a cheaper option too if we need it. But that's something that you can calculate how many kilometers of roads, you know, each grader has to manage, and then there'll be a threshold where you just automatically need another one if we're building a lot more roads. But once again, that's fact-based information, so that's good. I think we need a 5-minute break, just because there's just way too many questions for me to absorb here. You know, I will just say this, in the break there, I was talking to Rudy a bit about that, you know, we're gonna have to focus and make sure we get the interim operating, and that's a given, and start to get some semblance. But really, I think for the first time, we actually need to have a 5-year plan, and that 5-year plan would help to stage each year's plan. And so I think if we start thinking that way, we'll work on it as much as we can. But if we don't get it done this year, we'll have more information and more knowledge in the start of next year's too for the capital plan as well.
Amen, brother.
Pardon me?
Amen, brother.
Yeah. So that's just the discussion I had with Rudy there. And it'd be kind of nice to have a 5-year plan, and then it does take some of the politics out of decision-making here. All right, let's carry on. Where were we?
So we're on page 29 of Township 495 to 71 to 73. I will just note the very last page, 62, there's just some minor typos there on the map. It is Township 495, not 85, and it is from Range Road 71 to 73. But the picture, that is accurate of where it's at. I think we've presented everything. I don't know if there's any other questions on that one before moving to the next report.
Yeah. What's that, Glenn? Go ahead.
Was there any chance of getting a road count? Have you got an old one you could show us?
I definitely can bring that back. I didn't do that in the break, but I can bring that back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, when I think about road counts, we're probably gonna be using averages, right? Because every year it changes. Could be high one year, low the next, you know, so with any of the projects that are going, we must be taking some sort of an average over the last 3 years or 5 years to get a rough idea of what the average traffic is. Dallas?
Yeah, road counts will definitely help us get into that facts-based decision-making area. But when it comes to road counts, did we upgrade our road counting technology so that we can understand what type of traffic it is? I mean, if you're pulling a Super Bee, how many times does it go across the little air-filled tube, and how many times does it ring the bell compared to just a passenger vehicle? You know, what can we do with that?
So through the chair to Councillor Ekstrom, we have not upgraded our equipment, but the equipment that we are using has that capability. We have not been asked that request yet. We can show you light traffic to heavy traffic.
Okay, we can
So
decipher that.
That is there, yes.
Okay, okay, we can't decipher that. So I was just wondering if we set up a camera, we'd be able to tell exactly, because we're counting for 5 days, 9 days, whatever. You could tell exactly what type of traffic it is and
Yeah,
all
we
that.
actually do a 14-day count
Okay.
on all of them when we do set them up. And it's all on how many axles go over it,
Yeah.
and actually the width of the tires.
Oh, really?
Does change how it counts, so.
Okay.
What about that guy in the Volkswagen that goes back and forth?
Yeah.
20 times?
It's too late to pick it up.
I can't say that happens anywhere.
Glenn?
Thank you, Reeve. To Dave, so I seen the province, when they do their traffic counts, they seem to hire somebody that puts up sticks with cameras, and they're all over the place. What kind of data are they collecting? Can we get that same company to do, little pieces of road like this one to get more data from it?
So through the chair to Councillor
Gunderson?
Gunderson, when we are doing a specific project and looking at traffic, we will actually put a person out using transportation's rulings on what they look at for vehicles,
Okay.
which way they're traveling, when they turn off at an intersection, when they turn off to an approach, which we did on 492 when we were looking at either doing a speed reduction or widening and putting turning lanes in for the Barmac property. So we do, there is companies that will come out and do personal traffic counts for you, but we can, when requested on certain areas, do personal counts.
Kara?
Thank you. And from past experiences, it wasn't the county that did it, but Alberta Transportation did put cameras up at one point on Highway 22, and there was absolute mutiny in the community. The cameras were damaged. All sorts of conspiracy theories were thrown out there. Every single councillor at the time got a call that Big Brother was watching. AT, if you did directly talk to them, because I did phone some of the complaints, and I phoned actually to find out what they were doing, and they were trying to do traffic counts, and it was updated technology, and it was a camera system. They had to remove them because of vandalism and, I don't know, politically correct the words to people were very upset. And it turned into a fiasco. So they have tried cameras in the area. We could try again, just past experience, and that was within the last few years, just saying.
There isn't any live satellite imagery, is there? I mean, we have our maps, but it's a one-shot deal. Is there any live data that, Big Brother is watching? There is actually live, because then you... No, I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Aria?
Thank you. Just to comment, maybe if we did use cameras to prevent the mob, just put a sign out saying that you're doing a road count.
Through the chair of the council, so we will be getting a few examples of the traffic counts on this road to you. If you'd like that prior to making any motions, we'll get that to you. And then on a noted, we've been including a lot more, like you mentioned, data in these reports. So going forward, we'll continue to do that with the road counts and take this information into consideration. We did also at RMA at the trade show, there was Fox Canada and there was other companies with different types of technology and different type of road counters that we were looking into too. So we didn't have it in this year's operating budget, but we have reached out for pricing and information about different options too. So we can bring that back for information as well.
We're actually using this almost as a test project for future road decision-making, right? That's what we're doing. And so whatever we've talked about on this road, we use the same sort of thinking process on the rest, so we're not asking you the same questions, so we need road counts, we need equipment or the costs, we need, history, we need, all the different things that have been asked by counselors.
Yeah.
We'll just apply that same sort of principle to every project that we look at, right? So. So where were you at there? Did you have more there on this one?
Yeah, no further information on this one, so if there's no further questions at this time, we'll get you information back, but I can move on to the next report.
The number of residences, and like I said, it's not the residences that use the road, it's everybody else. I mean, they do use it, but they're really a minority compared to the 200 vehicles a day of oil field traffic.
Correct, yeah.
There is an additional statutory right-of-way there that we could make use of if we're going to construct a new access to that lagoon.
Why do you know this?
I just know things.
Is that true, what he's saying? Oh, okay.
If it's the one I'm thinking about, maybe asking Counselor Ekstrom for clarification. There is, I believe, a statutory right-of-way on the other side of the creek, but you're now building a bridge.
Oh, across that creek there?
Yeah. If that's that's the only other statutory right-of-way I know that was in there. And it's on the other side of a major creek through there.
Is that those white lines there on the top of the southwest of 35? Yeah. Correct. That's the other right-of-way that's there, I see. Okay, cool.
Okay, so we're on page 63 now.
Just one more
sorry.
thing. One more thing. Talking to an individual that used to take wastewater out of the Drayton Valley Lagoon, there was millions paid to the town of Drayton Valley for that water. Do we have that option to sell our sewer water for a revenue Once again, we're all talking about we want to do a lot of things. We need more money. So they were selling the cleaned wastewater, and we've got places like Violet Grove, we've got Cynthia, we've got Rocky Rapids, we've got all these places that have relatively clean wastewater that can be used for fracking and used for well drilling. So have we ever looked at that option, or?
So through the chair to the Reeve.
You forgot me already, didn't you?
So that has been tossed out this year. We've had a couple oil companies approach us. I have passed that on to Darcy in the wastewater area. They are very willing to supply the water. I'm not sure if there was a price set for it or not, but it does, in the long run, if they haven't dewatered their lagoons yet, it does assist the county in not having to dewater the lagoons. So that option is out there, and yes, we have been approached.
Good. And I would suggest sales, because I think that's what's happening, at the Drayton Valley Lagoon. So I can put you in touch with the fellow that had organized it initially. Go ahead, Dallas.
Well, that's exactly what Breton did. I don't know what they sold their water for, but all that water got pumped out of there and went east and, for said oil company, and they used it for injection. So they're definitely using it. There's definitely a market for it.
It's better than dumping it into the creeks, I think, right? Because we get to dump it into the creek. We meet all the criteria and all that, but you're still dumping it into the creek. And if you live downstream of that, and we've had complaints in the county about people that are downstream, and they don't like the fact that we're dumping wastewater into a stream even though it meets the environmental criteria. Sorry. Apologies, yeah, thanks. They're putting words in my mouth now. Thanks, Bart. All right, carry on.
Okay, so we'll go to page 63. So this is Range Road 75, south of Township 494. You'll see a location map on page 66. So it is from the town boundary heading north to Township Road 494. So a little background, this was brought forward by council because there was concerns from residents regarding the dust control on Range Road 75. During 2025 interim budget, council did approve $357,000 for doing an asphalt surface on this road. Once we put it out to tender, the cost came back substantially higher. So the cost came back at $809,000 versus $357,000. A couple factors contributed to that. One, although it rated high and the base rated well as a gravel road, for the paving company to come in, they would have to redo it to their standard to be able to warranty the asphalt on it. Second was that one wasn't approved until later on in the year. So once we got it out to tender, it wasn't competitive, so the pricing didn't come back very competitive. Regardless, it would still be substantially higher than the $357,000. So a few things, we do have that road assessment information on this one as well. As mentioned, it does rate as a 9.4 on the criteria, so it does rate excellent in the current standard it is in. It does have higher traffic counts. We do some dust control there by the mailboxes. We don't by the residents, as they prefer not to have the dust control there. We have had conversations with Town of Drayton Valley a couple times if they would like to partner and do their portion as well, and then we could tender out together and do a bit of a joint project. They're not interested in building any new infrastructure and doing that at this time. So I do have a few options here, and I do have another one I wanted to throw out as well. So option one, remove the project. You may want to choose to remove the asphalt project from the budget entirely. Option two, to approve the project at the increased cost, so we need an additional $452,000 on top of the already approved amount. Option three, defer the project to the 2027 interim budget. We continue discussions with Town of Drayton Valley, see if they're interested in, again, partnering with it. It would be ideal to have it, one surface, is to have it instead of just, chunks of it done at a time. Alternatively, we could look into, it's come with a lot of dust control concerns, and that's where it came from, more so from the town side, as well as the product we're using currently on our side. So we can look into other suitable, sustainable dust control products. We did speak to somebody at RMA at the trade show. We have reached out to them for pricing and to the references as well, who's used that products. I think it was Strathcona who used that products. We've reached out for some information, so we're collecting that right now. And that could be potentially something we talk about with Town of Drayton Valley. If we're willing to do a joint agreement, we could also maybe put it on their section as well and do a full test to see if this, if other types of more environmentally friendly dust control products would work on this road. So just a few options there for discussion.
Glenn?
Thank you, Chair. This would be a great road to defer until the 2027 budget, just to give town a little time to think about it. But that at RMA, there is a product there. It's made out of canola oil, which is a great product, and they're using it for dust control, so it's not a chloride-based. And it might be a great test project for this road for us to see if it'll stand up to this. I know that the residents there feel that there's enough traffic there that the dust control should be free. But yeah, this might be a good, just an opportunity to maybe get some information on the worst case scenario for dust control and follow up with that. So I appreciate, I don't know, are there any steps we're gonna have to get that product, or you're just gonna look into it a little further? Or do you need any motions to go that way?
Yeah, through Reeve to council, I don't think we need any further motions. It is an ideal, maintenance feels it's an ideal road to do when we talk about doing trials and getting good information on. If we're looking at other dust control products, doing on this section of road would be ideal with the amount of traffic and with the gravel road that it is, and concerns are being brought forward. So we've already started the steps in place for doing that. We are waiting on pricing though, so that might change a little bit. Whether that'll fit within our current budget or not, we don't know yet. I haven't received the final pricing yet.
You've raised that issue, Glenn, in that we need to have a chat with Drayton Valley on any areas that we may want to cost share with. You know, as far as like a road like this, if we do ours, you guys do yours, and we have maybe some savings for both municipalities. Aria?
Thank you. I was just going to agree with Glenn to just defer it to the 2027. I'd love to see this road paved because I think that there's a lot of traffic on it. I don't know if you guys have an exact count.
Again, we do have counts. I did not bring that
Just not
today,
with it.
so
Oh,
good
that's
lesson
okay.
learned today.
That's okay. But also, I know this motion initially came from Councillor Brooks, and now he's on town council, so maybe he can push for it in our favor, so, yeah.
So we keep bringing up, these roads would be great to test these new products out that they're bringing. You know, I want to use canola oil. This is a new product. Is there something from these manufacturers to incentivize us to put that risk in? You know, it's great to try these things, but if they fail, as some things have in the past, are we getting a better deal to try these things out for these people? Or is it just you pay full price and we hope for the best?
We'll have those conversations. And for this one specifically, I haven't got all that information back from the manufacturer yet, but I've reached out with all these questions. So I can definitely bring back an update report when they've supplied everything, as well as they did supply some references for and the municipalities that have used it surrounding us, similar climate, et cetera. So we'll bring that information back as well.
Glenn?
Yeah, there's other communities that are already using this product, and they're based out of I want to say Sylvan Lake. Yeah, I think Sylvan Lake. So it's a very close, their product comes there, and yeah, like I said, it's just like I said, basically the chloride base material we're using right now, it really is, it's hit and miss. Sometimes if it rains right after you apply it, it runs into the ditches and you lose it. Sometimes it works really well. But like I said, it's not a great product for long lasting, and we have other roads that, if it worked here, we could incorporate it into other those complaint driven roads that just we see year after year, and maybe even get some of the oil companies on board to help pay for some of this. There's some roads in my area that they're already paying for some of the cost of this, but maybe they'd pay a little more for something that'll last longer.
It's like the old Mazzola commercial there. It all comes back with 1 tablespoon, so. Sorry.
So just to administration, through the chair, just to confirm, the piece that's the Drayton Valley piece is not paved at this time. It is still gravel?
That is correct, yeah.
So we would be considering looking at, this proposal was originally to pave that piece that was ours, hoping that the town of Drayton Valley would pave their piece as well and do it all at once at the cost share.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You got a breakaway, keep going.
Okay. So I think that covers everything on that report. If everyone's okay, we'll move on to page 67, Range Road 63 from Highway 39 south 2.6 kilometers. Administration's asking for council direction on this project. Bit of history, council had previously asked administration to investigate partnership options on Range Road 63. There is the Bubb Creek Pump Station, which is what we're referring to when we talk about Pembina. Some industrial traffic goes down there for that 2.6 kilometers. We did have communications with Pembina Pipeline. They are not able to provide funding for the option to pave the road at this time. We do have a road use agreement with them. So they do currently commit a certain amount of money on an annual basis towards the maintenance. They're just not interested at this time or have it in their current budget to do any additional or to have that go towards paving. But they are continuing with the road use agreement, and they do continue to pay the amount as outlined in their road use agreement, towards the ongoing maintenance of the road. There was a special council meeting earlier this year. Within that, this one came up as discussion, and it was, put forward in a formal sense that council may be interested in applying for STIP funding for the paving of this road under a resource road. It would fall under that criteria. We had previous estimates come forward. I think our current estimate for a paved service on this portion would be 2.6 million. We would like to note that if turning lanes are required off a highway, that might be higher too. We don't know at this time. If we were to go forward with the project, to design the engineering of it, we would be advised by Alberta Transportation if turning lanes are required or not. So just wanted to give that little disclaimer. Moving into our road assessment information, it is currently a gravel road. It does rate 6.5. It does fall under the excellent rating as the current surface. Sorry, and I should say, there's two different road IDs, so our road assets are broken down into chunks. So the portion from 490 to Highway 39 is 6.5 excellent. The portion to the end of 490 the rating moves a little bit different to 6.7, which rates good, so it just changes by a little bit there. We have not had direction to apply so far, yeah, so we haven't applied for STIP funding on this one before. We did send a letter to the MLA that there was a project the council was interested in, and he was taking that for information. But through budget here, any that you would like us to apply for STIP funding for, we will do before November 30th.
So how many other projects have we got that we're applying STIP funding for?
There is two from last year, two bridges that weren't successful in STIP funding last year, and so we would reapply this year unless directed otherwise. And it's council choice. Going forward, I think in the capital, the 5-year capital plan, you'll see two bridges for next year, which would be STIP funding. This one's a potential for STIP funding. 495 we just talked about. It could possibly fall under the resource road under STIP funding as well, so it's up to council direction.
Thank you. Glenn?
This one would be really good. So STIP funding covers 75% of the costs of building this. And the reason is it helps with the economy. And this road is a heavy haul route. So we have B trains coming in here 24 hours a day. There's usually 4 or 5 of them parked at Pembina offloading at any given time. Generally, they're coming in from Lethbridge, southern Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, all over. So they're highway trucks. They're low to the ground and they don't do very well on gravel roads. So they come here off of highway and then they're plunked into this. And it can be a muddy road sometimes, and in the wintertime it's challenging. It's always a little bit dangerous and tricky to get off of the highway. It's harder to get back off of that gravel road onto the highway. So, I mean, there's only a couple of residents on here, so it's not really aimed at doing this for the residents. It's generally for what is STIP funding is for, which is economic and transportation corridors, and this is a major one. So the Pembina Pipeline, Buck Creek Station, that was built back in the 50s, 60s, and it takes all the oil from the Pembina oil fields, so all over. It's all piped into that one facility, and it is put into the main line that goes into Edmonton from there. So it has basically been the main driver of our economy in Brazeau County forever. So without it, we wouldn't be here, right? It's a major asset. So yeah, like I said, STIP funding 75%, and to improve this road, it would be a great idea. Basically, it's all these trucks, they come in, and that's the most challenging spot that they have to deal with. The road isn't terribly hard on both shoulders, so trucks kind of have to, they're already limited to a 50-kilometer-an-hour rate speed on that road just for safety. So it would be nice to, this would be an easy one to approve, just because if we don't get it, we're not doing it. But if we do get the STIP funding for it, 75% covered, it would be a great opportunity.
Okay, so Glenn has just raised another criteria when we're picking road projects. I'll use the Elk River Road as an example. We paved that road 25 years or 30 years ago, and there's 0 residents that live out there. you know, it's all industrial. So it's along the same plan that Glenn has just talked about. It's primarily an industry road, but that doesn't mean it doesn't warrant the same conditions that could be used in a place that has housing. So just another factor to add into everything. Dallas?
Thank you, Reeve. It's just interesting that Pembina is not asking for an upgraded surface. I don't mind asking for STIP, but the STIP sometimes it's 75-25, not always. But the Resource Road branch of the STIP, as I understand it, is kind of a federal branch. Is that right? Have we ever been successful at securing the Resource Road grant in
Yes.
history? We have?
Yeah, Violet Grove going south, Ed Stelmach gave us, I think, 1.3 million. The Sunchild Road was kind of a resource road as well. Elk River Road was a resource road.
So we did receive financing on that?
They used to fund that a lot better than they do now. I don't know if the resource road is even in effect anymore. I don't know, have we tried for any
So-
resource roads, Dave?
We haven't tried recently, but there hasn't been much success in current years. It was, recent information they sent for that special council meeting, it was under their criteria, so what Andrew, MLA had sent out, it did stipulate under STIP that they are looking at the resource road under there again. I'm not sure if Kara has any more current information on that. But it wasn't advertised out in the past, and recently we've been seeing it on there more, so I'm not sure what the likelihood is now.
Kara gave me the goose egg look. Go ahead, Kara.
The goose egg look. As far as we know, and any information we've found from RMA, it is still a line item in the budget, but it's at zero and has not. It's been close to a decade since there's been money in there.
Okay.
That's about right, Kara. 2 decades, maybe. Shane?
No, Carol goes first.
No, that's okay, Shane. When I say it's you,
Okay, we'll go with my way. It's because I kind of forgot what I was trying to bring up here.
it's nice that
So Pembina, how long has this been here? How long have they been going down that road? A long time,
Yeah, since the late 1950s.
for longer than I've been alive. Has there been safety concerns brought up from Pembina about turning off the highway onto the highway? Is this on their, because like oil field companies are all about the safety, is this high on their safety list? These, yeah.
Well, okay, so to the chair, to Councillor Blosky, as for Pembina coming with any concerns on the safety side, no. They have not.
I feel a butt coming on.
The trucking industry has brought forward concerns,
Okay.
but not the actual oil company.
Okay.
Carol?
To administration, through the Reeve. This, how many applications can we make to STIP? Is there an annual number of applications? Is there a dollar amount? Can you put in 6 of them? Or how does that work?
I might refer to Colin for this. There isn't a limitation on the applications, but what historically they've approved, I'll refer to Colin on that.
To council and through the chair, to Councillor Vogt. Yes, the understanding is there is no limit placed on the amount of applications that can be put in. With that, you also have the conversation on, are you watering down your ass by putting too many in that case, and which ones will they be? Kind of, should you pick your best one to give it the most consideration possible in that regard? We have, off the top of my head, I can't think the last year we had received. We have in the past received a couple, but it's probably been a good 6 years or so since we've been successful in STIP grant fundings, I believe.
So just in that regard, in the August 5th meeting, council had a special meeting regarding 2 requests coming to, from our MLA, Bochenko, asking for 2 requests for STIP funding. So have we already placed those 2 requests in then, or are those still in the works? That was just a suggestion.
Yeah, the Reeve to Councillor Vogt. That was just a suggestion. That was just for, he was wanting speaking notes for some meetings that he was going to. So there was no direction, and those were not submitted for STIP funding applications. So it was just conversation.
Okay.
I will mention that where we see other opportunities, we will. So we were talking yesterday about the bridge culvert over here. And that one is potentially a good candidate for DFPP grant. We've seen success with that with Hilltop, as there is flooding concerns there. So instead of using STIP for that, we have that prepared to go forward for the DFPP grant, hopefully be more successful. And it takes one away from the STIP and opens that up to maybe another priority that you have.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had a 2-day special meetings, and we picked two things. One was the culvert over here, the bridge file, and the other one was this. And so we did ask our MLA to consider this for STIP funding. So, I mean, we've already kind of moved this way, and STIP funding isn't easy to get. We're probably not going to get it, to be honest with you, but it wouldn't hurt to just follow up with this and give it a go anyways. We've kicked the ball this far. It's just a matter of going a little bit further, and if it happens to work out, it would be really in our favor to do this.
Any other questions on this? What's the next one there, Pippa?
I think you're over to Lee here now.
There's no money left, Lee.
I heard you hadn't made any motions yet. So we're on page 70 of 166, and that's the Pitaquay Campground Playground. I'm going to let Tristan take you through this. He is a qualified playground inspector, so he is more intimate with this, all the playgrounds. But one thing I just wanted to point out, if you want to refer to, it's on the orange tab on page 9 in the Capitol. It actually has the playground replacement, 10-year replacement. So and this is based on age. You may recall we did bring the last time as far as the Willie West playground, and that had aged out, and there was deficiencies with that, and that's every year the playground inspector has to inspect, and there was a number of things that were failing. So it doesn't mean to say that we have to replace the playground when the time comes up. So I'll let Tristan take it away.
Thanks, Lee. Good morning, Council. Like Lee said, we are here today to talk about the Pitaquay Campground Playground surfacing. Back in 2024, Council approved the implementation of a 10-year capital playground replacement plan. And for 2026, the Pitaquay Campground Playground would have been up. However, this playground is meeting CSA standards with everything except for the current surfacing. And the current surfacing is a pea gravel surfacing. The current surfacing has over time become compacted to the point where we are no longer able to rototill it with our tiller that we have. The current surfacing would need to be replaced to rectify the situation. A couple of options for Council's consideration would be to replace the current pea gravel with new pea gravel at a cost of $20,000. Just to give Council an idea as to the maintenance that goes into the different types of surfacing. With pea gravel, our staff are out there raking underneath the slides and swings weekly, as well as we, in the last couple of years, have implemented semi-annual tilling. So we'll do it in the spring, we'll do it in the fall, just to ensure that we aren't having compaction issues like we currently have at Pitaquay. The second option would be to replace the pea gravel surfacing with an engineered wood fiber surfacing. Engineered wood fiber is just essentially wood chips that have been processed. They're all the same size essentially to create more of an interlocking type of surface. EWF is considered an accessible surfacing, and with the Pitaquay Playground on the south side, there is some outdoor exercise equipment that's included in that playground that would benefit from having the an accessible surfacing type. We're looking at around $30,000 to replace with EWF. And this option, as opposed to option 3, which would be to replace with a pour-in-place rubber surfacing, would allow us to keep the surfacing in the event there was something catastrophic that happened to the playground, like, say, a tree coming down and us needing to replace the playground. With the pour-in-place rubber surfacing, we're looking at approximately $111,000. For that, those surfaces do have mainly zero maintenance. However, if, obviously I don't have a crystal ball to be able to say that the playground in 5 to 10 years isn't suddenly failing inspections, we would have to remove that rubber surfacing or do a pretty significant patch job where the playground pilings are. With this campground, the current operator of the Pitaquay Campground is the Métis Multicultural Youth Society. They are eligible for grants like the Community Facility Enhancement Program, as well as some others, and administration would look to work with the Métis Multicultural Youth Society on applying for grants for this project. Administration ultimately is recommending that the engineered wood fiber surfacing be used in replacement should council decide to go that way.
So when I was on the tire board, we used to give out grants, rubber crumb or pour in place, those things. I don't know if those are still available or not, but they were significant grants. And so I would assume that if we do go down the path of looking at that, we'd look to see what we could get from them as well. I don't know who is up first. Shane?
I feel so special. What's the lifespan on that EWF?
Through the chair to Councillor Blosky, the lifespan on the engineered wood fiber surfacing is between 25 and 30 years.
Is
One
that
thing I
char?
can, sorry,
Is that wood char?
To the chair, no. It is taken from new wood, essentially in lumber operations. It's processed and treated, and just made to be the same size. If hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. Go ahead, Dallas.
Really good. I like your options. Tristan, how many users do we have?
Through the chair to Councillor Ekstrom, the Pitaquay campground is a fairly busy campground during the summer. I don't have an exact number from this past year. We're just getting their stats, but there are 48 sites at that campground, and throughout the years they are a significantly full on most weekends throughout the summer. So thank you.
Wood, paper, scissors, or something like that? Rock, paper, scissors, yeah.
if I may, can I just say that we haven't used this product, but Barrymore has it, so. And how long has Barrymore had that product, the wood fiber?
Barrymore, their playground there, I believe, was put in just before COVID. I believe it's 2018 or 2019, and their surfacing's held up very well. The Village of Breton also, on their new playgrounds that they put in over the last 2 years, is also using the engineered wood fiber.
But the advantage is less maintenance?
Correct.
Okay.
The cats don't like it. Mom wouldn't let me play in the playgrounds because she thought the cats would bury me. All right, thanks, Tristan.
You bet.
So we'll move on to page 73 of 166, still at Pitaquay Campground. This is the shower house. This actually was sprung on to us, no pun intended, or maybe there is, the end of August, actually. The shower roof is leaking. It needs repair or replacement. The building is a repurposed ATCO trailer of unknown age. Investigating the leak has determined that it would cost prohibitive to repair due to the nature of the structure. Administration has reached out for options to address the concerns with the building, including a brand-new build, purchasing a precast building, full replacement of the trailer, and constructing a secondary roof system over the existing trailer. Financial implications for each of these options were unable to be sourced due to the unavailable materials of the trailer and lack of response from suppliers. I mean, this was just the end of August. We were able to get a price on construct a secondary roof system over the existing trailer. That's at $40,000. This allows for limited disruption to the operations of the Pitaquay Campground. Full replacement of the shower house may still be required in future years because the trailer is at least 20 years old. We'll be working with the contractor for Pitaquay Campground to apply for eligible grants funding to reduce the cost of the project. However, it is at this stage, if we do nothing, there will be no showers at the Pitaquay Campground. I know that if we do look at future replacement, either try and locate another ATCO trailer of the same, the roof structure will still be, we can still utilize this. It won't be a waste. I know if we're looking at a complete new shower house, I mean, the costs, we're talking $500,000. So I think this is probably the most economical and fastest way we can get it in operation again.
Okay, we'll go to the next one.
So page 75 is the Willie West electrical upgrade. Just for background, for new council, Wiley West Campground is our busiest municipal campground in the region. This is operated through a contract. With this campground, I mean, they have over 100 sites there. We're getting more larger recreation vehicles, and so, of course, the demand on electricity, and we have upgraded this over the years, but what's happening is the breaker is tripping in the shower house, so it does cause a concern as far as blackouts occurring. We do have emergency lighting when it is tripped, but what happens is once the breaker starts tripping, it gets hotter, and sometimes we're looking at an hour before it can be reset. So to eliminate the frequent breaks, we're looking at enhancing the circuit to 100 amps. So this will help offset as far as the campers with the larger demand on the rigs, and so it'll increase the load capacity. The cost for this upgrade is $20,200. The way we have it with our contractor, anything over $1,000, because it's our asset, we're responsible for that. But I did have a verbal conversation with the contractor, and knowing that it's, you know, an ongoing concern, it disrupts operations. Of the 20,200, she was willing to put in 5,000 towards this project. We're looking at using funding from the established reserve. We do have a reserve that was established. Typically, we've been looking at approximately $90,000 to $100,000 each year. We've got into cost sharing with the operator, where they approximately give us 20% of the gross. So I know in the last 5 years that we've had this, I know we have $532,141 to date, and it's not just, this reserve is not just utilized for Willie West. You may recall, the Rocky Rapids Playground, we used the funding out of this for that, and also more recently the pickleball courts at Rocky Rapids, we used that funding too. So that's where we're looking to fund that.
Each time you trip a breaker, it gets a little weaker each and every time. So initially, to get you by not tripping, well, you're not going to need that right away. But just replacing the breaker with a new one will give it more capacity. But every time a thermal breaker trips, it gets a little bit weaker each time. So, Aria.
Thank you. Through the chair to administration, just out of curiosity, what's our revenue from this campground in like a year?
Well, estimated revenue this year is going to be $95,000. That's our portion. We get approximately 20% of the gross. Like we've got 4 more years. No, we did 4 years last year, so there's 3 more years on the agreement with the contractor.
So the 95 is what we actually bring in? Is
That's
you're
what we
saying? Okay,
get,
Thank
yes.
you.
For 1 year, yeah.
Glenn?
Through the chair to Lee, on the power bill side, do we pay the power for the campground, or do they get the bill directly? Or how does that work?
We receive the gas and the electricity bills, and then in turn it's billed back to them, so they do pay.
Okay, carry on, Lee.
If there's no more questions on Willie West, where are we at now? That's it for us, yep.
I'll call the meeting back to order. Who we got up? Nobody? Oh.
Prior to touching on the next report, we were just trying to pull up some information on road counts. Moose Hill Bridge, it was looking like monthly is approximately 80.
80?
Yeah.
Wow.
Monthly, so so daily we're just down to 5 or 6 a day, but we're just confirming that. We're trying to pull up more data. But that's what I had in the last step application.
2.5 or 3 vehicles a day.
Yeah, but we'll confirm that for sure. I do have some on 495 here. Let me just pull it up. So 495 East, Range 172. Yep. Okay. And this is from 2020. Again, we have more information, and just in that short break, I was just trying to pull some for council's information. So for Township Road 495, East to Range 72, this was in 2022. Vehicle traffic counts, approximately daily averages here. So combined daily average, 67. $495 west to Range Road 73. Again, this was in 2020, combined daily average of 176.
So that is the section that would hit the lagoon.
Was what, sorry, Dave?
Section that would hit the lagoon. And Range Road 75, I believe we found a couple for that one too. Let me, Town. So this is the most recent one on that section of Range Road 75 from 2025, combined daily average of 295. Okay, so a little bit of background information there, and yeah, we'll move into the next report. Okay, I lost my place, but we're on page 77. And when we start these ones, I'll also reference page 6 of 10. So under the, I think it's kind of an orange capital tag, there is our 5-year capital plan. So these ones I'm presenting are under that section here. So we do already have an in-house project of the Anderson Pit that's been previously funded and approved by council. So the one I'm speaking to now on page 77 is also being proposed as an in-house project that we could complete as well as what we currently have committed with the Anderson Pit, and that would be our in-house capability for 2026. So Range Road 45 between Township 473 and 474, we're looking to propose an in-house regrade. This section of roadway has experienced significant surface issues, drainage deficiencies, loss of proper crown, resulting in ongoing maintenance issues and reducing driving comfort. Through our rating system that you've seen, we do have this on this report as well. The current rating is 8.6. It rates very well. In going through these rating assessment informations, like I mentioned, this is our first year using this. We've only done one rating on it in good conditions. This road we haven't done a condition rating on it in the springtime when it's wet. This does rate very poor during that time, and we do have to put road bands on it. It does go through the grazing reserves in Wetaskiwin County, and it's a through road to a neighboring county. So it hasn't been touched besides regular maintenance in about 36 years. We're looking to have it brought up as we cannot ditch it anymore. And within our capabilities of what we can do in-house, this was a good addition to what we're already doing in Anderson Pit and maintaining our current infrastructure. Any questions or concerns?
All right, so when we say we do it in-house, that means we use our equipment, our operators, our people, our engineers, our everything.
That is correct.
That's
It's going to
correct.
be completely in-house. We're not going to be using a third party for this one.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dallas.
What's the turnaround on it? Any idea how long it'll take?
We heard that's 3 to 4 weeks if it's dry conditions. So we looked at the time it's going to take us to do Anderson Pit, so we anticipated that this could still be done within the construction season as well.
I see, so it would be scheduled probably a little bit later then.
Exactly, yeah, it would be Anderson Pit, we definitely want to be doing earlier in the season, and this would be at the end, near the end.
Okay, so Anderson right now, I see they're doing a lot of work there right now.
Yeah.
Are we gonna hold off for winter and then resume in the spring again? Or are we gonna continue to do some work right till you right until you
Yes,
run up
sir.
to frost?
We continue what we're able to do through the winter, but we are going to have to stop at a certain point because we are doing a CRBP plan, a full conservation reclamation plan. So we're limited to what we can do right now, and we're waiting for some results. So we are just clearing that road through and starting on some, just what we can do. But the majority of the work is going to be completed next year in 2026 in
I see.
spring.
Thank you.
Next project?
Okay, so the next one on page 81, it's bridge file 71598, standard bridge replacement. Again, on that page 6 of 10, it is one that came up when we talked, I've shown you previous end-of-life reports on the bridges. This one fits in that. The existing bridge was constructed in 1967, consists of 3 spans of treated timber through truss. We have done some maintenance work on it. At this time, we're asking for the cost of replacement as per the 5-year plan. However, so we are asking for the cost of replacement. It's been identified that this one would be a good candidate for a bridge culvert rather than the bridge. That would significantly reduce the cost. So if council was to approve this one, this would be a potential STIP application, as well as the cost would potentially go down. Once we get into engineering, we'd look at having that as a bridge culvert rather than the bridge. So it is just a high-level cost estimate just to cover that, because we didn't have the cost of the bridge culvert at this time. But it would be significantly less. Okay. The next report on page 84, very similar. So this is bridge file 75463, bridge culvert replacement again. Again, this one nearing end of life. It is noted as a high priority due to the age of it, age of the asset. It's constructed in 1962. The existing bridge culvert's been providing service for over 63 years. A low rating advisory was issued October of 2024. There's rings that have cracked, and that's causing that low rating advisory for that one. So again, this one would be a candidate for applying for STIP as well, if council chooses.
Dallas?
So for that particular one, are we looking at a culvert replacement as well?
That is correct, yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. So that one is currently a culvert, so we'll be replacing the culvert. The previous one was currently a bridge, looking to replace it with a bridge culvert instead.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
one?
another one.
Which one are you on?
This is a bridge, this is a culvert right now.
Yeah.
It is a culvert right now.
Yeah. Oh, we just talked about the previous report, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the first one I presented, 71598. So that one's currently a bridge. We see a good candidate for that being a bridge culvert instead. So we expect once that went forward, it would be substantially less than the cost that we've noted here.
Right.
But the second one I just presented, 75463, that is a bridge culvert. That would be replaced with a bridge culvert.
Okay, so my second question is, it'll be substantially more than we estimate, but does that mean we can do it in-house?
No,
No.
no, not with a bridge culvert.
Why? Why?
No. Anytime we're talking about the bridge culverts, there's a lot of regulations around that, so we cannot do that in-house currently. Yeah, with, maintain our current levels of service and what we have, so, yeah.
Okay, I'd really like us to be able to do that in-house.
And I used to have a conflict.
You did?
I did, because I owned that land on the curve. I gave that to the county.
Is that right? You generous son of a gun, you.
No, and now I sold it, so. So I no longer have a conflict.
So,
That's interesting there.
will that also be multi-plate culvert, or is it something like a lighter pipe?
Through the chair to Councillor Ekstrom, I do believe this one can be a solid pipe now due to that,
Oh.
that new sizes they've put into play where we can go up to the 3,300 sizes. And I
Okay.
believe that's what this is. It is a multi-plate right now,
Aha, I
but
see.
it could be changed to that new solid pipe.
Okay, so just one question, then I'm done. Would we consider putting a flat bottom pipe in here for kind of a little bit friendlier for the environment? Is that something we'd consider?
So through the chair to Councillor Ekstrom again, these are all recommendations that will come from the inspections.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
Through
know
the chair.
we can't go by the water that is flowing through that creek, but it's not much water flowing through there anymore. So I don't know if we can downsize or we just have to leave the same size based on historical sort of rainfall.
Through the chair to Councillor Ekstrom, so take these comments, so if council was to proceed with any of these projects, then these comments would pass on to who would be engineering and designing this project to see that the options, and if that's an option that's available.
Stuff here, we are gonna have to have a list, list project amount, because funding is gonna be part of our decision-making process, right? And you wanna take a look at all of them to try to figure out which one we should be doing, or which ones we should be doing. Kara?
Thank you. Through the chair to council and administration, it's actually more of a comment, just because the door was opened on the conversation around bridges and culverts and the issues around red tape. There is a number of municipalities, and if council's interested, it's really early stages, but I did have a meeting directly with the municipal affairs minister Thursday night last week. And one of the topics that come up was design to build bridge culverts. As it would be a viable option to reduce costs, especially under engineering, and it would be something that would work for the economics of both the province and municipalities. So there is a number of interested municipalities interested in leading this conversation with the GOA and what a design-built bridge / culvert would look like, and areas that it would be. Most of the municipalities that have spoken about some interest in it are actually east of Edmonton, so we would be the only west of Edmonton municipality that would be interested. So I don't know how to go through that. Maybe I'm going to lean on my CAO, but if Brazeau County is interested in being a part of being innovative and looking at reducing cost and getting creative, this might be a good step in doing that, because I think you all know, I'm going to put both hats on, council and RMA's hat. The red tape around bridges and culverts is astronomical, and because it adds to the cost. And there are so many rules and regulations around what you can and cannot do. I know the troubles we've had when we've had washouts and we're waiting months for permits so we can go replace something that was already there or even fix it. It's crazy. So it's just a note.
So what's a design built? Is that they actually build it on site? Like, is it the flat bottom culverts that I've seen? Do you know what a design built looks like? I mean, I assume they're designing it to fit the application instead of buying a standard one, from Westco or whoever we buy our culverts from. What can you tell us about that?
Thank you, Reeve. I don't have detailed knowledge of it, but yeah, you're on the right track. There's no pre-engineering that's involved. The engineering that's involved is specific to the project that you're undertaking. So it's you're designing it as you're building it as opposed to pre-engineering it. So you save all those pre-engineering costs.
Oh, okay. I like that. Shane?
On a different side of this same culvert, some of these roads that I'm seeing that we need to replace, are they getting a lot of heavy truck traffic that is maybe reducing the lifespan of these things? Or, these are going to be end of life anyway, but could we have gotten another 10 years out of them if we didn't have so many big trucks coming over them? And if that is the case, are we talking to these companies that are bringing, excuse me, the traffic in, going, you're abusing these roads more?
Through the chair to council, there is road use agreements, and some of the ones do have ongoing maintenance. So the one on Range Road 63, Pamela, that's an example where they do pay a set maintenance amount. It's quite a large amount for maintenance on a yearly basis. When we have gravel pits, that's another good example of where they have road use agreements, where there is agreements that they pay a set amount of maintenance every year to upkeep the maintenance on the road. And some of them, we've reached further conversations, like Pembina, like there is some others, where we've asked if they're interested in then resurfacing a road. So those conversations are had. It's not always agreed upon, so.
So with something like this, when these come, it would be nice to know if these companies have been paying already on this, and then maybe part of our plans going forward is to maybe allocate some funds to replace culverts and things like that. Just a thought.
Yeah.
So for the smaller culverts, is it possible to run a liner inside there to reinforce and to extend the lifespan of the pipe at all?
Through Reeve to Council, yes it is, and that's what the recommendation comes across sometimes. So I think last year we did have a line of recommendation, but we have an engineer looks into it, whether that's an available option or not. And sometimes we look at the cost of that too. Does that extend the life only for 2 to 3 years, but perhaps for a smaller additional cost, we can have, 20 plus years out of it. So they evaluate that and gives us the best recommendation. Yeah. In some of these, we've reached the point where the liner isn't the option, so, yeah.
Have we got any liners in any of our culverts to date?
Off the top of my head? No. The last one we proposed last year, there was a liner, and then it was taken away as a candidate. Once it went through the proper DFO channels, it was declined as a liner. There's other waterways, things that come into play, and they declined that, so a rehabilitation was recommended. So I don't have any recent history of a liner.
But interesting option, so. So that's good. All right, let's go to the next one.
Next one, we're on page 87, 2026 microsurfacing projects. So again, when you go to page 6 of 10, this is on the 5-year capital plan, and this is a project we're proposing for 2026. So we're looking at Elk River Road and Sunchild Road. On page 90 and 91, you see the aerial of those areas. So Elk River Road is 7.5 kilometers, and Sunchild Road, 17.65 kilometers. They are both an asphalt surface. We're asking for microsurfacing on both of those. As we went back to the report earlier, these are both a great candidate for that. They are 25 plus years that the asphalt's been on there. We have resurfaced with the microsurfacing. We can extend the life quite a few more times with this option, we believe. Yeah, so currently we have the road assessment information on these ones. They do rate fair and good, so these are in good condition. I think we have reached the point where microsurfacing would help at this moment and then extend us for another 10 plus years.
Glenn?
Through the chair, is there going to be cost savings since we're doing 2 roads that are almost side to side or back to back? I'm assuming that would be the idea, because you have to mobilize all that equipment, and it just makes sense to do them both at the same time. That's what I'm assuming?
Yeah, through the Reach Council, exactly, and Dave caught that. These ones actually were split out 2 years apart, and he caught that, and to save on mobilization costs, it's going to make much more sense to do them together.
Thank you.
So, our MP at that time, when we upgraded the Sunchild, I believe they brought in some federal money for the Sunchild. I don't know if you remember that, Dave, but Merrifield at the time was the MP, and they, I believe they got some funding, and I'm just wondering if one of the strategies is to work with our new MP to see if he can get us some funding for that as well. I'm not sure about the other portion of Clearwaters. Is it rated to the same thing, the same style of road? Like, are these both resource roads now? They technically should be secondaries, because they come off of 753 onto 620 and then goes down to Nordegg, right? So technically it should be a 3-digit highway there, not called the Sunchild Road. although you could keep it, but just get a three-digit number on there, and then it's fully the province's responsibility. You following my thinking?
The route to council, we won't complain about that, because I think we'll have some future reports of the bridges there over the dam. They are in need of repair. They are very costly. I don't have all the numbers, but I'm working on that right now, and that's going to be a report coming forward too. If they were under provincial jurisdiction, that would save the county a lot of repair costs there, because there is a lot of industry traffic and traffic going through to other places.
Got it on a map, it's a secondary road, right? It connects onto 11, right, down at Nordic? So it goes from a three-digit road, 620, to a two-digit. That's a secondary road.
Yeah, the responsibility was passed on to Brazeau County a long time ago, but yeah, we'd be open to any conversations that would have it back as a provincial secondary road.
Well, it's a good discussion for our MP and a good discussion for Andrew Bachenko as well. So. No other questions?
Okay, I'm just gonna, I think we're moving into equipment now. I'm just gonna grab a couple reports.
Get into equipment?
Yeah, we got another question.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Doug.
All right, thank you, Reeve, through the Reeve to Public Works. So 492 and RR 65, that unique little crossing there has not hit the radar. I mean, that we can see this. So what's the strategy to tackle that little monster? What are we gonna do with that one?
Can you show us on the map
You
where it
refresh
is?
my memory, sorry, I missed the beginning of
492
that.
and 65. So that is
Okay.
just across the river,
There's land-
off 39.
Land discussions, right? So this would fall under council, under land discussions.
It would, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. Okay, if everyone's good, we'll move to page 92. So we're looking at a grader replacement. May have rushed this report a little bit. I understand there is a lot of numbering in here, and there's like, it looks a little confusing with the unit numbers and the unit types. But to summarize, M142 was a unit number. This was a 160 MCAT, the type of grader it was, and that was one that was opted to be replaced last year. We did hold that back to propose it as an option for a rebuild. So we have a grader right now, M146, that is up for replacement. It's a 14M grader. And we're proposing, just looking at different options, and we've had lots of discussions with Finning, that M142 would be a great option for a rebuild. Rather than purchasing new, it's an option for some cost savings there. So we did, we've talked to Finning. The great sell on this is the warranty. The conversations that started about a year ago, the warranty wasn't very appealing. Now they've brought the warranty up to the similar to new. So now it is quite appealing in that way. The cost we put in there here is worst case scenario. In talking to Leduc County, so Finning gives us a cost of $555,000. But it's anticipated not all that will be required. Leduc's seen that cost significantly less. Theirs came up at the high 300,000s. So, cost of a new one would be about 740,000. So, you're saving 200,000 plus potentially a bit more depending once they got into it. On page 93, we do have some feedback from other counties that have done this. I've received nothing but positive feedback so far, and then we talked to the operators that use them as well. On page 94 and 95, that was just pictures of the one at Leduc County at their yard that we went to go see. Talked to that operator. He's quite happy with that as well. As you can see, even inside, the cab looks new too, and that was a lot of concern from staff and operators, but it does look like a new machine at the end. And like I mentioned, they do warranty it like a new machine. So it's up for council decision. It was just an option we wanted to throw out there, a rebuild or you know, or new. And then,
That's interesting you looked at that. When you look at the data there, you're getting 7,500 hours of warranty on a new machine. Good comments from our operators. That's quite a savings.
And, you know, being this a trial, would we do this next year? I think we'd probably do one, you know, get some good data, try it for a couple of years, see how we find it. And maybe this is something you can continue, or maybe not, but we do have a One Health Act that is a great candidate for it. We've had a lot of good feedback. It is a good opportunity for some cost savings, so wanted to bring it all forward.
Any questions? Lunch? We don't want anybody to eat our lunch now, do we? Sure don't. All right, we'll take a break here. Pardon me? Oh, Glenn?
For allowing me to speak, but yeah, I do think it's a neat idea. I wish that was an option for heavy trucks too, to be able to just get them rebuilt for that kind of a cost savings, but I think it'd be worthwhile to give this a try and see how it works out.
Yeah, we did an in-house rebuild, like in-frame rebuild with the internationals. You know, you knock out the sleeves and pistons and bearings and, you know, $1,500, you got a brand new engine. Yes. Yes, you get everything good.
And through Reeve to Council, so the information in this package was from Finning, because that's specifically who would be rebuilding this grader. If we were looking at doing a John Deere one, I've talked to Brant, I have all the information from there as well. They also do rebuilds. At this time, their warranty does not compete with this one though. And I think we would put it out to tender, and there is other places like Union Tractor that would do the rebuild too, so we get the information. So I'm just presenting based on what Finning has provided us, but there are other options as well.
Them quite a bit, so.
I don't know if their warranty would compare. That seems to be the main difference in everyone we've talked to, but yeah, I'd have to find that out.
Yeah, I've got a Cat D3, a D4, a D5, a D6, a D7, and 2 D8s.
Okay.
I got more fleet than the county does. All right, so we're going to take a break for till 12:30 if we can. Where did we leave off, Pippa?
Just talked about the grader rebuilds, so we'll go into a few more equipment reports. We're on page 100 of 166. Prior to going into that a bit more, I'll just note that the attachment is the same for each of these equipment reports, and that's the PW16 policy. So these items are brought forward as per the equipment replacement program policy. And on the second page of that, or 102, it shows, you know, the kilometers and years in service that triggers us bringing equipment forward. You'll see a difference in some of these reports. The top of them in that recommended action, something we've done different this year. So on page 100, the recommended action is that council approves the replacement, because administration sees concern there where it does meet that threshold and it does need replacing. But there are other ones that might meet the policy, but we have the option for cost savings and maybe not to replace it this time and to evaluate over the next year if we're seeing this as well. And in those reports, I'm saying that council provides direction. So that's the difference of those two. So on page 100, we're talking about 2500 series truck replacement, unit T78. So it meets the threshold as per the PW16 policy that I just mentioned. And it is one that it meets the policy, administration would be looking for replacement on. So that's 74,784.
The sale of this unit too?
Right? No, this is just a cost of new.
Of a new, and so then we get something for the equipment when we sell it.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to page 103, truck plow replacement. So this is not a full truck. This is just the plow unit that we're looking for replacement on. And this is one where we are asking for the replacement of it. It meets the threshold and it is very corroded and it's no longer feasible to repair. We've done the max amount of repairs on it. We're past that point now, so we are looking for replacement of the truck plow for $18,000.
Oh, go ahead, Kara.
That's just like the blade and the hydraulic stuff all right? Like that's just the front of those big trucks?
It is, yeah, and I really should have attached a picture to that one, but yeah, it is just the blade in that unit that attaches to the front of the truck.
May I? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Just further to that, if there's a lot of corrosion on that, what about the rest of the truck? Because there tends to be a lot of corrosion on the truck. Is the truck okay? And it's just that, the blades and,
It's just the blade,
Okay.
yeah, so through different suppliers, we were looking at different coatings and options to preserve them. On page 106 of 166, we have a trailer replacement, unit A44. This is one we're asking for council to provide direction. Administration, we're okay with deferring the replacement of this tandem trailer. It's reliable, it meets county requirements, and we don't currently have any concerns with it. If it was to replace, we'd probably replace it with something different that could be utilized, you know, in a few more ways, so it could always be a bit multi-purpose. But as of right now, this one's used by Public Works, hauls skid steers, and don't have any concerns with it, but it does meet the replacement policy.
Go ahead, Glenn.
So on the deferral, would this come up again next year?
Potentially. So all the ones, the deferral, we'd track and monitor them, the repairs over the next year, and we would bring it back next year if, yeah, we were
Okay.
wrong, if there's some repairs needed, or it might just go for a number more years. No more questions. We'll go to 109. So another 2500 series truck replacement, unit T99. So again, we're looking for council to provide direction. So this one does meet the replacement threshold. You'll notice on page 109, the kilometers, it is over the threshold amount. However, this one did have an engine replaced in 2022 at 250,000. It's got a lot more life on it. It's in very good condition all around, no safety concerns. This one definitely could be used for a bit longer if council wishes.
I don't know what councilors are thinking of, but if they don't need to be replaced, because we're gonna be short of money, we should just take them out of the budget for this year. At least that's what I'm thinking. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but there's not gonna be money for everything that we can replace and stuff, but if there's some here that staff thinks will last another year, we should just grant that in a way. But open to any thoughts or comments. Like there's been two here just recently that they're saying they don't need to replace it right away. So why would we push it? Huh? Okay.
Okay, so next one here is on page 112. So it's a 1500 series truck replacement. Again, this one is the one we're just asking for council direction. Kilometer-wise, it does meet the threshold as per the PW16 policy. Administration would be recommending for defer replacement of this one. It's a reliable truck, no concerns with it, and it is who utilizes it currently. It doesn't get a lot of kilometers, 5,000 max a year, maybe 7,000. So it's not highly used, and no major concerns besides it does meet the threshold.
Appreciate you being frugal. Alrighty.
Okay, that's it for equipment. Thank you.
Thanks, Pippa. Everybody's just piping right up here, aren't we?
Just a quick comment from administration. I see some councilors notice I did print out, kind of as part of the conversation coming out of this morning, a summary sheet that you'll find on the top of the counter there. So that is summarizing the operating reports that we went over on the top section, and as well as summarizing the capital items we went over here today. I just wanted to make one note, and I did write a little bullet point on the bottom. I did not include the Township Road 495 totals in there, just because there was two options, an A or a B. So if council were looking at do something, just, yeah, please take that in addition to that $10 million number there at the bottom. I just haven't pulled that into the total to mislead it. And then as well as to provide council with a bit of an update, the next part of our reports starts on page 115, and these were, at the time of printing, we had 2 fire services reports included in here, one being the training facility and the other being a potential fire services maintenance position. We have received an update from Chief Thompson that these items have been pulled from both the county and the town budget for consideration. So he's asked to just to please disregard these reports in your budget at this time. Potentially next year they'll come back, but.
So there's nothing coming from the fire department then?
That is correct. Nope, just
Okay.
what we heard yesterday.
Well, I know the town had a meeting today, maybe they got some sort of a message as well. But these are some of the things we should be talking about even before budget, is meeting with the town on any of our joint stuff that we work together on, because we're both joined at the hip there, and neither one of us can make a decision. But we should have been talking about the dome, we should have been talking about the fire services and anything else that requires joint partnerships. Kara?
I agree, Reeve, with that. And the other comment too is, I know this training facility has been talked about for a number of years, well,
Yeah.
over a decade, because since I've been here. And I think it keeps being talked about because it is actually, if you look at it, it's actually a good idea, and it's a revenue generation for the community too, because if we built something like this, they will come, and other departments will come train here. Not only are we having to send our guys out right now for this training, but we could be a hub it could be a hub and for future expansion. It is a good proposal, there's something here. What, I don't agree with it being in the 2026 budget, but I think we should be taking a pretty serious look at this. It's been floating around, and I know there's a lot of work that's been done behind it, and if you're talking about trying to diversify our economy, and bring different things to the community, this is actually, I think, an easy win for us. But
Yeah, because you'd have people coming from all over North America flying up, because there isn't a lot of facilities that can do it, and you can't be too close to Edmonton because of the risk of fires and things like that. So being out here, the runway, I think, can handle a 737, I think. So you could bring in some pretty big planes from all over the world. I'll go to, who wants to speak last? I'll go to Glenn first. I'll speak last.
So with this facility, it's already over by the Rocky Rapids area. It's a mess over there. It doesn't look good. It's troubling to actually go by it. It looks like a homeless encampment. So putting this over by the CETC doesn't do anything for me. That's a brand new charter school. Kids are going to be over there. They're going to be wanting to go play in those structures. The location doesn't work for me for this facility. I'd prefer to have this either where it is right now or somewhere else that would be kind of out of the way, hidden. I get that there's homeless issues, and they're getting stuff stolen, they're getting stuff vandalized, but that is community-wide. That's a broader subject for us to
The
tackle.
original proposal, Glenn, just to cut you off a
I
little
know,
bit,
I know,
was
but,
at the airport, eh?
I know.
Okay.
It's at the airport now, but they're talking about moving this to the
they're talking
CETC.
about a big one with planes that you can burn and all that kinds of
No,
stuff.
no, they're just talking about one over at the charter school at the CET Center. There'll be no airplanes there.
The original one was at the airport.
Oh, maybe, but yeah,
Okay.
this one here was for that. And like I said, that was my only concern, was having it. So in town where it's, like I said, it's an eyesore where it is now, but I wouldn't want to showcase that right on the south side of town.
Right. I agree. Go ahead, Kara.
One of the things I'd like to add, just to follow up with what Kara's talking about, is it not possible that we could get a partnership with a safety training company? I know you can do fire safety training in Strathmore through Global Safety Training Centers, which is rated and licensed for certain levels of fire training. And if we could put that kind of facility in our community, it would bring in those people to take safety training as well. So this would be something that would work good for a public-private partnership, where the county wouldn't have to fund it, but we could definitely make some money at it and bring some economic drivers into our community.
And that was all talked about. It was quite an elaborate system that they were going to put in at the airport. People can fly in, they can do their training there. It's safe because you've got a big open area, and all the safety stuff that you're talking about would go into to a training school. So you're bang on is what's going on there. And the fire chief, how would we like to frame this up at the end here?
I'm just going to beat this one. So, on Councillor Gunderson's point, I believe that they have, part of the issue with this being pulled was location. So there was other locations, I believe, coming up. On the point of, through the chair to council, I spoke quite a bit with some larger companies at RMA. There is a lot of interest in helping to fund something like this, especially if there's naming rights or whatever have you, so we can get rid of a lot of the cost of this with larger companies getting in on it. The training facility looks horrible because it's in poor condition and poor shape because it's been stuck together for, well, longer than I've been around. And it looks horrible because it's beginning to fall apart because it was never made to the appropriate standard because that standard didn't exist back then. There's a standard now that all of these things need to be, you know, the types of fuel you burn, all of these things. I guess the whole point of me beating this down is this training facility needs to happen. It's just when we do that, I think, is important. And I think part of it would be getting, I don't know if I'd say a training company per se, but industry that might be able to take advantage of that with their emergency response teams, getting in with those larger companies, being like, hey, you want a place to do your propane training? We have that for you. Maybe that's something you can fund or help us fund. So.
You got something else to add there, Carol? Yeah, go ahead.
Just in response to that, Shane, that's what that training center is down in Strathmore, is for oil companies to send all of their training staff down there. So if we could locate something in northern Alberta with that same kind of, I know there's something in Leduc, I believe, but if we could function something like that here, it would be a driver. So that's why I'm saying that public-private partnership. You know, we'll supply the interest, but you supply the money on the private side, and we can do something along that line.
Lots of enthusiasm. Dallas.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, yes to partners, absolutely. It's large enough that it should help us if we had third-party feasibility study. It would help us to promote and further it and look into it because we are that facts-based decision-making body.
I see. Yeah, yeah. We had a big presentation from the fire department there, remember? And then it seems to make sense at the airport because, you know, people aren't going to be driving here so much as they'll be flying here.
Well, the other piece of it is property right behind us.
Yeah, yeah, that'll burn good, that one.
And it's close to the airport.
All right. So much to do in so little time. We got no more presentations?
So at this point in time, we would be moved on to reports from our non-capital reports, meaning, you know, some funding requests from items that aren't related to our county-owned assets. And this would be beginning on page 137, and it would be the Lodgepole Hall Society request.
Yeah, so page 137, the Lodgepole Recreation Society. Administration received funding requests from the Lodgepole Recreation Society. They're looking for, they've actually made an application to CFEP. I know they've actually reached out to them just last week, and which is a good sign. So I know they have to get this intake, they have to know by the end of the month, but that's fine. They can always go to the next funding cycle. Anyway, the society is, the way they explain the Lodgepole Hall, they have a boiler system, which they've been repairing over the years. So they were looking at revamping the whole HVAC system. And I know that I asked them to get a few different, because originally they came with one quote. But anyway, the quote they would like to go, you will see on the next page there, 139, that's their letter. So they go into detail about all the costly repairs they've gone into over the years, and this is a complete air conditioning, heat pumps, furnaces, $111,350. They've made the application to CFEP for half that amount. Our FIN 7 does allow for capital. Typically, it's up to $50,000. And then Lodgepole Society received capital funding for their hall improvements upgrades in July 2025. So they already had some capital. That was $10,000 they received from us for that one. They do have to submit financials, and they do have a healthy account. So if you'd like to see that, I mean, we'd have to go in private to see their financials, but anyway, their ask is half of the $111,350.
So they get half that, and then they get another 50,000 from FIN 7?
No, they would get half from CFEP and half from us. So they're asking
Okay.
for that half of the $111,350 from us, and the other half from CFEP.
Okay. Dallas?
So Lee, when community organizations are in need of assistance, do you write the grant? Are you our grant writer, or do they do it?
Well, we help as a team.
help.
We typically write them, yeah.
Okay.
They did this one themselves, I would
Mhm.
admit, they did this one. So.
I see. Are they equally as successful as we are? Because I know
Yes,
that.
yep.
Okay.
Well, I know that they got the call last week, so you usually don't hear anything. So if they're calling, they were actually asking, because, hey, where's the matching component coming from?
Right.
And that's what this part is. So.
Okay. I think it would be wise to go and close just briefly.
Okay. Make a motion then. Well, if you got discussion, it can happen in the back as well.
I just want to see the finances.
Oh, I see, you just want to see the financials. Okay, Carol, then what's your point here before we go and close?
Well, I was just going to speak to this. We went out to the Lodgepole Hall here just this last week. They had an opening and kind of a presentation of the work that they've done in the hall. I was very encouraged by the participation, and so were they. There was people in the community that hadn't been to the hall in years, kind of like the Hatfield and McCoys, that had united there that night. And they've done a lot of work in that hall. Their boiler system is done. It is leaking constantly. They have done what they can with JB Weld and everything that they possibly can. But to be honest, they'll be lucky if they make it through this winter. And you're going to take a viable hall. If we deny them the funding, you're going to take a viable hall, a robust and engaged community group, and you're going to remove that hall because no heat, then you're done with the hall. The hall's done. And so I would recommend an investment in that piece to keep that hall open. That is their major center, being on the outlying piece of my division. They tend to get overlooked a lot just because of their location, and that is what keeps them together as a community. So I would highly encourage the rest of council to support this extra funding.
Look at how well she's got into the lobbying strategy already. All right. Anybody else want to have any comments out here before we go and close and look at the financials? No? Then I'll accept a motion to go and close. Dallas?
Thank you. Atia, what? 19. Okay, I'll move that Brazeau County Council go in closed for financials Lodgepole. No, this one is this Lodgepole?
Yes, Lodgepole,
Okay,
yep.
Lodgepole, yeah, Lodgepole, Atia 20, sorry, I forgot already. 19. Atia 19.
So does financials fit? Land, legal, and labor. I guess it's legal as not exposing somebody's information out into the Public, okay. All those in favor? Okay, mount up. I'm going to call the meeting back to order. I need somebody to add just a preliminary dome discussion because the town was dealing with it today. If somebody, go ahead, Kara.
You want it added?
Yeah, just add it to the agenda.
5 years, it would be under these third-party ones.
Under third party?
6B.
6B? Okay. I move to add item 6B to the agenda, recreation facility dome. I'm not calling it a bubble dome. A recreation facility dome.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Go ahead, Lee, you got 6 more reports?
Last one
Well, this is the last one.
from me.
Oh,
So, page 146, Town of Drayton Valley Capital Projects Funding Request. Well, at the time it was Omniplex handrails. Administration received this request from the Town of Drayton Valley, attachment 1, as far as on September 10th, 2025. The proposed project is to install handrails throughout the bleachers to enhance the safety and accessibility in the arena seating areas, ensure maintenance of high standards as a public facility at a cost of $23,000. As per the rec cost sharing agreement, Brazeau County is not under any obligation to fund capital requests. The agreement does require submissions for capital funding prior to September 1st, so it was after. But historically, the county has provided 50% funding, the town's recreation capital funding. So the town is requesting 50/50, so it would be half the 23, so 11,500, which actually surprises me that it is even a capital. I would have thought it would just be operating anyway. But anyway, that's where they're at. They're asking for 11,500 from the county to cost share on this project.
we'll take it out of the childcare funding. Kara?
Just more of a comment, or, I spend a lot of time in arenas all over the province, as do I think a number of our staff too as well. I think this is a nice have. I will give, the Omniplex in the arenas in our facility, they're very accessible. If you're in a wheelchair, they've got area, like, it's accessible. Like, this, I think, is just a little bit, like, I get, it's a nice have. Hand railings coming down would be nice, but I don't know, I know there's gonna be a bigger ask coming down. Maybe that's what Councillor Gunderson's gonna ask. I'd rather put $11,000 towards the ice plant than something like this. We know we have that ice plant's coming, so I'd rather, it feels like we're splitting hairs because it's $11,000, but honestly, I'd rather them paint the bathrooms than do some work and repairs in the bathrooms in that facility than put handrails up. Like, I just,
Okay, thanks for that. What are you gonna scare us with, Glenn?
Nothing, but this is, I think on the town, this is, just made me thoughtful, right? They could have buried this into the operating budget. We would have never have seen this. So there's this kind of letting us, and I want to encourage this sort of thing rather than just turn it down. I do want to encourage them going, yeah, we have this, we're not going to bury it in the operating budget so you can't see it, you don't know what's going on. So this is an olive branch. It's $11,000 is not that much money, but it's encouraging that the town will do this. We didn't definitely say no to this, but I think anything going forward, you would risk that just getting buried into the operating, because this isn't, I think, I would agree, this isn't a capital. This is just operating, but I think this is kind that they would actually show us that we're planning on doing this and giving us the heads up at least, so we're more aware.
I'm not sure if I agree on this one, Glenn, just because we took a beating paying more for recreation than we should have had to have. And it's gonna take us a long time to recoup that money. So, I think you just can't, you haven't been around for the history of all the things that we've conceded to for the last 25 years. And so you can get a little bit numb from that. So I'm not so sure I'd want to support this right now. And if they're gonna start bearing things, that's not a good approach. I doubt that they would do that, Glenn. Anyway, said my piece, you said your piece. That was it, Lee?
Yeah, I guess I was wrong. Sorry, there's a library one too. Sorry, I forgot about that one. Yeah, this one, yes, so as we were going through the operating, I did mention that they'd submitted their financials and their request, like when we were going through the operating there. So I'm on page 150 of 166. So the board requested, looking for 198,274. This is a 3.5% increase from the current 191,596, and as well as increases due to inflation. The board has made the decision to hire security. So having security has kept library patrons and staff safe, allowing access to public washrooms without incidents, and has reduced the staff's need to phone the RCMP. I think that it is maybe the attributing factor to why they've, the increases there. And sorry, Glenn, you were on, but you're familiar with the washroom problem they had, I think? Yes, so.
Go ahead, Glenn.
So yeah, with the increase in homeless, they were using the library as a safe place to shelter. They were getting kicked out of the local soup kitchens and anything else, and the library was a refuge for them. So what we were having troubles with, they were using it to store their backpacks, which we'd have to deal with or call the RCMP to come and get. They would leave weapons sometimes laying around, and the knives on the seats and things like that, or they'd just go to sleep in the library. They were using the washrooms to do drugs, and yeah, it was hard to get them up. And so the amount of responses that we had to deal with was a lot. So the board decided, they hadn't put any budget in place for it, but it came to a head where we weren't able to use the washrooms. When the town was closed, we couldn't use the washrooms. So people would come into the library in the evening, and their kids had no place to go to use the washroom. So the decision was made to hire a security guard and on a trial basis, just to see how it would work out, and it worked out great. We were really, it's cleaned up a lot of the people that needed to be out of the library. He's got them out, and the washrooms have been open, and so yeah, it's been a good thing, and it's been great for staff because they just generally weren't able to take care of that issue. So yeah, it resulted in a budget. Now we're dealing with a budget issue, and also the library has kind of not increased their budget for a few years. We're understanding that trying to save some money for the county and the town, and now it's kind of come to a head where there needs to be a bit of an increase. The budget has been stressed because of changes in leadership or management there. That cost some legal, which also resulted in the requirement to get some storage CCAN to deal with the materials. And yeah, so they're just a little behind the eight ball, but it's a tight board. Everyone on that board doesn't get a per diem. They're there as volunteers. They work really hard. They've helped pitch in to help clean up the library and helped in with the Fire and Ice Festival, so it's a great team. But they're just looking now to do a bit of a catch-up. It's very similar to YRL. They needed an increase as well. The Drayton Valley Board also seen a need for an increase. So I'm in favor of this.
Aria?
Thank you. I'd just like to echo Glenn's support. I take my daughter to the library quite often, And I can't say that I would if there was weapons and drugs laying around. So I think that it's imperative, unfortunate, but imperative that they have the support to be able to do these things, to keep families and kids feeling safe, to be able to go and utilize the library. So I'm also in support.
Dallas.
Yeah, library boards are driven by volunteers, people with great big hearts, and so is the Breton Library, the same thing. It's a 3.5% increase driven by COLA, so as long as it's straight across the board, Brett gets it too. That's fair, right? I'm all for it too.
Okay, any other comments? Oh, Aria?
Thank you. Just a question, is Breton facing some of the same issues? Like with homeless and, yeah.
Well, there you have it, Lee. Who else is giving us reports? Rudy, you had said there were 6 reports to do?
Yeah, so, Reeve, the next one in our binder is page 151. If you'll recall, Bears Paw Networks made a presentation to County Council in April of 2025. Bears Paw Networks is a division of the Stoney Nakoda First Nation Telecommunications Network. They had recently purchased a small telecom company in Edmonton, and it provided them access to some funding for a potential fiber project in the Rocky Rapids area. The area is outlined on the map on your screen that shows the area in green that they're looking at working on. They provided information to us regarding access to universal broadband funding from the federal government and some other provincial sources, as well as funding from the First Nation itself. A letter following up in September of this year indicated that in order for them to proceed and get the final funding, they would be seeking $1 million investment from Brazeau County to support this project. So that's the third-party request that I had in the agenda package.
So once again, we were just talking loosely there. The what would that cost per recipient, I guess, to get fiber in their homes? So you got 251, it says here, plus some in several surrounding subdivisions. There was a group at one time that was looking at providing funding in order to bring this in. I can't remember who was leading that. Karen, might have been Lori, to try to get funding in the area. Lori Clark.
Yeah, I don't recall, Reeve, and to your first question, I know that they went through the synopsis of the program that they were proposing, but I don't recall at that presentation where they indicated the amount of actual residences that would be touched. I know that they indicated that if there was interested residences that were nearby the program, for very little money, they could get added on, but I don't know that they specified the amount of residents. Maybe Councillor Westerland would recall.
Well, it says 251. In
Oh,
this
it's
report.
251 private dwellings.
Yeah. Plus some more in the surrounding areas. Kara, do you know more?
Yeah, that was the iffy part.
My suggestion would be, I think we need to do some further investigation with this. If they've managed to secure, and I'm on page 151 of 166, if they've managed to secure $5.3 million, and they're just looking for the 1.3 million, is there some way that we could partnership with them to try and squeeze that rural, or the universal broadband fund even further, rather than us? I mean, the easy ask is just ask us. I don't know, and I don't know if we could, get staff to look into it, because this is going to be one of those things, exactly when we're going to deal with the dome. If we say no, this community is losing a $4 million grant in essence, right? And if we say no to the next thing, the community is losing a $1.5 million grant. So trying to find that balance. I don't want to say yes, and I don't want to say no. I want to do some further. I understand that there's going to be timelines to this. But I am wondering if there's an opportunity where we can work with this group to try and secure funding elsewhere rather than us. Like, we would be the ultimate last resort. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, and somehow you have to think about how do we serve the other multi-parcel developments?
Well,
you know,
I mean,
as well, or
you gotta,
do you,
yeah.
or do you just offset a subsidy or something to them?
Well, right now, so for argument's sake, the ring road's got fiber. So, and we never asked to be subsidized the rest of the county, but the ring road, everybody that lives in the county on the ring road has it.
Yeah, but this is a little different
I
because
know.
it's away from a center, right?
So, my
That was just a
suggestion was
business
be,
proposal.
I don't know if we could work with this group and have a look, but if we say no today and we say no during the budget, we just turned down a $4 million grant.
I understand that thinking.
So I would be open, I would hope that we could have maybe a further discussion with this group and see if we can exhaust some other avenues before using local tax dollars. And I say local because this is taxpayers' money, and we talk about money leaving this community and not coming back, so.
No, you made some good points. I'm just trying to think, how do you do the fairness in the rest of the county?
We have towers. Too, all over the county.
Couple we've got.
Yeah, that serve a small pocket of residents too as well, so.
Any other thoughts? You can tell that people are getting pissed off, so. All right, next item.
And so the next item was found on page 162 of your budget binder, and this is a follow-up from the delegation from Ms. Fredrickson the other day in regards to the Drayton Valley Free Press Brazeau and Beyond request. And again, that's found on page 162 of your agenda, and I believe it is in the sum of $8,400.
So to me, it seems like a no-brainer for something like this for communication. But that's just my thoughts. Glenn?
We don't have an economic development team, and this works almost as good. It's phenomenal. The outreach that this does and the work that they put into this is amazing. So yeah, I'm very much in support of this. It's
Anybody not in support? See how I asked that a little differently? All right, okay, so what's the next one, or is that it?
So in your agenda of today, you will find on the very last page a funding request from the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance. Just for some background information for council, this item was, this request was brought up last year. I believe is in the amount of $3,400 approximately. And at that time, I believe there's some conversation council had in regards to some concerns regarding the group and the committee as a whole, as far as being, I believe, a voting member, and maybe some thoughts on the river designation potentially as well too went behind that one. So last year, council made two motions. One was to deny the funding request, and then the second motion was to disband the committee, which Ms. Scharfel has put up on the screen there for council's reference.
Okay, so, you know, just because you're on a committee for a while doesn't mean you keep it forever. A lot of times committees should have a sunset clause where you're only there for so long. This particular one here, we didn't see the value in it of giving them the funding, and you're actually giving money to an unelected board that has significant influence on planning and development for municipalities, so we decided to move away from that. And I don't see a change in thinking. Anybody got any other comments? Otherwise, this will be one of the things we'd recommend, that we don't belong to the watershed. No, but there's a request for us to join again, and so we'd have to tell them thanks, but no thanks. Yeah. Well, there was a number of groups too that were opposed to us belonging to the watershed for fear of overreach by the federal government, because it was a federal designation. And it might just put a crack in the block where federal influence could start to shape where we go with our planning and development. Pardon me? Sorry?
I think two separate things. I think you're talking about the Heritage River designation?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a separate issue, but they asked that group for, it wasn't this group leading that. But they did ask that group for support.
Is that not what we're talking about, the watershed? Huh?
The watershed, I think they did, but it's not, the watershed didn't lead the heritage designation stuff. That's a separate, they're two separate things.
Okay.
But they do kind of overlap, because I think
Yes.
the other group asked North Saskatchewan Watershed for support, and they did support it. North Saskatchewan Watershed is provincial, not federal.
Yeah, it was just the heritage designation was the federal. Colin?
And just wanted to point out the last item then would be item 6B, the newly added dome conversation.
No, I don't think so. Town of Drayton Valley was dealing with it today or tomorrow. There's just a lot of unanswered questions, and I know we've got support, you know, from our MLA, and what he was talking about is the county puts in $1.5 million, the town $1.5 million, and he'd find $1.5 million. He seems to be pretty keen, and he wants to see this done, but we need to know, what is the total cost going to be? What's the operating cost going to be? And all of those things. It's a first-class facility that they've got there. And it looks like something that could enhance the community, but we gotta make sure we're not getting stuck with a pig in a poke. How's that for an old English term? You go to buy a pig and you actually just get a cat. Kara?
I agree, and that's, I think, to be clear, is the MLA promised the 1.5 million, but it's actually, we need a nonprofit user group to come up first, because they're the ones that have to apply for the money. Then the town puts their money in, the county puts their money in. And then I suspect the location's already been picked. It's gonna take out the rugby and football fields right beside the pool, which are utilized by the community. So there's a discussion we haven't had. Are we replacing those fields somewhere else? If you drive down there and you utilize the facilities, those fields are busy. You're taking one sport out for somebody else. Like, I don't know if that discussion's happened. That field is busy and they hold tournaments there. And I believe rugby uses it too as well. So what's the replacement of that looking like? And I think the $1 million question is actually, what you'll find in my experience has been building these things is the cheap part, you guys, and it's the easy part. It's maintaining and the operating. I have not seen any cost analysis on the operations of this.
Yeah, and those are good questions.
Yeah.
We need to have those answered for sure.
I think so. We have to have some sort of plan.
Yeah.
Who's operating it? Who's running it? So if a user group puts $1.5 million in, do they think they're gonna own it and run it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, a lot of questions.
Yeah, so I threw it on the agenda just so that we start thinking about those things. The town is doing the same thing. At some point, we're gonna have to say yea or nay to the 1.5 million that Boychenko is putting, but is it just a $4.5 million facility? Or is it a $5 or $7 million facility?
I agree, Bart, that's the building, but we know that area. It's gonna need a geotech work's gonna have to be done. And again, what's the cost of relocating those fields, and what's the plan there? You're
Right,
taking, two different sports teams and user groups out of there. I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. I'm not saying no, but I think there's some really big questions, that need to be answered first. And the questions I've asked are no surprise, because the first that I got told about this, I've actually done a site, and the builders actually came out to Drayton one day this summer, and I asked directly those questions, and what my concern was when I directly asked the builders what the operating costs are, they didn't know. And to me, if you're the builder of something, you know what the operating costs are, or you should have an idea. So.
I don't know what they are either, but I know when we were there, are you really there? Yeah. The little units was pretty tiny, keeping that place together and pumped up. Like you saw, there were just two little fans this big, you know, that were heating. No, but that was heating and pressure, yeah.
So when we were there, we did inquire about the operating costs, and he said it was about 5,000 a month.
Right.
But when we asked what the total cost for the dome was, he could not give us an answer. So that didn't really sit well with me. And I agree, I'm not a fan of the location. I understand it was explained to us that it would be connected in to the pool as to not have to build a reception or change room area. But they also said that they did come and survey, they checked out the land, and he said that that would be the bulk of the cost, is the groundwork, so, yeah. So I also have concerns. I definitely think it would be awesome, but at what cost, I don't know.
So those are good questions too. We need to know the financial side of things there to make a decent decision. If it's gonna cost $500,000 to operate it a year, you know, that's probably a given no, right? So. You been patient there, Shane?
Always patient. Through the chair to council. So we did have a really good discussion with the builder and the engineer of this thing. The issue that they had in terms of cost and understanding that is they've never built a dome like this. This is a brand new dome. It's brand new. The guy designed, by the sounds of things, the engineer designed this and has worked with the manufacturers of the product, like the dome itself. And again, a lot of the cost was the groundwork, but they have looked at it. I think, though, we need to see what direction the other stakeholders are going to go with this as well. Now, the location, though, I will say, from what I'm understanding through the rec board, some of the things coming to the pool, it does make the most sense there. There's going to be other facilities attached to that pool going forward that would make this even more viable, in my opinion. People who like to play tennis and pickleball want their coffees and other things, and that's all going to be in that area. So, I don't know. I think we're beating this a little bit, but we need to see what the other stakeholders are doing, and I would like to see now, because when we went there, it had only been running 2 weeks, so they hadn't actually had a full month of operation to really understand the total costs. I'd like to go back and see, now that it's been a bit colder, what are we looking at?
All right. I just put this on to have kind of an initial discussion, but Glenn and then
Thank you,
Carol,
Reeve.
and then
Yeah, I took a look there before RMA, I stopped there and I took a look at the facility, and it's pretty futuristic. I haven't seen anything like that anywhere else. The webbing design, all of the links, I don't know where they bought all those parts. Even the entryway doors were just absolutely futuristic. I've not seen that anywhere else. And it was comfortable in there. It was cold. Just finished snowing a whole bunch. The parking lot was full of snow, and that dome didn't have any issues at all as far as, there wasn't any snow on it at all. It was comfortable inside. It was well used. The parking lot was full. It's only set up, the one that I seen at the Xavier Center was set up for tennis and pickleball. So that wouldn't be what we're looking for. We'd want to have more options, but it looks like you can screen off all sorts of different areas for whatever activity you want to do. Yeah, so if the power costs, if the utility costs are only $5,000 a month, it seems reasonable. I know that at this facility, there was a whole bunch of tennis players, a whole bunch of tennis courts, and they were renting those out for $40 an hour, sort of a thing. The memberships to get a membership at that facility were $850 a year. So there's a potential there where that'll help cover some of these costs. It's nowhere near as expensive as running an ice plant for hockey or curling. This would be reasonable. Easy to keep clean, easy to maintain. You don't need a Zamboni or anything. There wasn't any trash whatsoever in that facility. You're not carrying around food or anything like that. You're just going there to play on that surface. And I don't think dust is an issue. Everything's probably filtered. Like for a newly built facility, it was spotless inside. And it was light, bright, comfortable, and I think it's quite an asset. if we do this, I think, talking about debentures, this shouldn't just be covered by the costs of today's taxpayers. It should be spread out as far as we can pull this off, but I would be in favor of this.
Who all was there? Like, were you there, Carol? And Aria, you were there? Rudy was there? I was there? No? Blosky was there? And Kara, you weren't there? Okay. No, I was just curious to who's seen it and who hasn't. Carol?
Okay, so just one thing in regards to the location. I do understand why they want to come off of the swimming pool to alleviate that additional entryway and additional administration costs for people coming in and out, but that will take up some of the parking area as well, or the parking area will be limited. I know Councillor Harris had mentioned that in regards to limited parking in that area for the pool itself, so that would be something to have to be considered. I do agree with Glenn, it's an awesome facility. The tennis courts were being supported by the tennis association, so they had committed some funding to that in their revenue stream because they were utilizing a good portion of those courts. So we, of course, don't have a high demand for tennis in our community, as you can see by some of our very much degraded tennis courts that we've had over the years. Definitely pickleball. We do have a big interest in pickleball in our community, but we would have to look at some alternative things which might change the makeup of whatever kind of court system you put in there. So if you're putting in soccer, might be a different court base than if you were going to put in something so that the people could play basketball or something along that line. So just something to consider. We have to look at the usage of what we might be anticipating, what user groups would be the most, that would receive the biggest benefit from that facility, because it will be different than what Edmonton is experiencing. But the cost was a concern for me when we were inquiring about what the total cost was, because this was their prototype. He's put a lot of extra energy and a lot of extra work into that. So I think he's trying to figure out exactly what that cost would be that he would be willing to prepare that facility for us. I would hate to be the #1 first client on that list, but I do know that in speaking with Minister Bochenko, the grant application had to be prepared, or the proposal had to be prepared by March. So we are under some time limitations if we're looking forward.
Kara?
Yeah, and I appreciate all the comments, and I'm not necessarily opposed, but I think we need to sharpen our pencils and do our homework first before we commit. I appreciate conversations being had about, oh, well, it costs this and it costs that. But everyone around the table knows you can say whatever you want or hear what you want to hear. There has to be a business plan somewhere before any of this goes on. And these engineers and the people building them, they know. So all I'm asking for is this information put in writing so we understand what we're doing. And it's called a business plan. Like it is so simple. That's what I don't understand. That's what, if I seem apprehensive to making decisions, this is why. Because anybody that is involved in any of these types of things, building wise or not, there is a business plan and they would know that. So I've asked these questions. I think this will be the 5th time I've asked questions. And I haven't gotten an answer, which is concerning. So I'm not opposed for it, but we have to make sure we do our homework and we do our due diligence before we say yes. So again, where's the business plan and the operating plans? They have to have them.
I agree. I'm just thinking, we've got the business plan for the pool, and that was a disaster. And we've got the business plan for the skating facilities, and that was a disaster. You know, they're both requiring huge deficits to keep them operating and stuff. And this one might need a deficit too, I don't know. But you're right, we need that information, Kara.
And I'm not sure which swimming pool, if you're talking about the new one, it was in the business plan. If you actually read them and looked through them, we knew what we were taking on and we knew the deficits that were coming. It was all in there. And so it shouldn't have been a surprise when they had to do and stuff changed. There was cost savings that were talked about in there, but then we knew what we were losing or gaining on the efficiency of the building, we were going to lose to the staffing side. It's all in those plans, and that's what I'm asking for. Not a feasibility study, but that stuff was all included in there.
No, I understand that. I'm aware of that, Kara. What I'm just saying is
the
that
long term.
it's a business plan, but it's not a profitable business plan.
No, yeah, okay. I agree wholeheartedly. That's why I'm asking. And that's why I'm asking these questions. What are we in for?
Yeah.
The cheap part's building it. We all know that. And the
Yeah.
other question I have that has not been answered is what are we going to do with the football and the rugby associations who use the field that we're taking out?
And we'll,
There's been zero conversation with them because
that's what the town's supposed to be talking about too, what they recommend, right? So
I
then,
agree. And I'm not sure if they had a conversation today, and I'm not sure, maybe Lee, if you're going to connect with your counterpart in the next day or two about what was said over there? Yeah, okay.
All right, let's wrap this up, Dallas.
I get to swing too.
Huh?
Yeah, you're requesting a feasibility study. That's exactly what that is in every detail. We owe it to our stakeholders to be fully informed, no question about that.
Yeah.
Recreation never makes money. It will barely offset the cost upfront. But I am a little bit disappointed that we haven't been at the table. Location's already been selected and we weren't even at the table. So I'm a little bit sad.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the site, if it has been, I haven't been informed of that just yet. We're talking about these areas where they think it should go, but I don't really know if that's really where the town wants it. Go ahead, Glenn.
I think the location issue is just because when we went to the one in the city, there was only, they did have a big, beautiful building attached to it, a big reception area, one girl there, but it's a huge cost to have that building, the washrooms and the lockers, and then have an attendant there for that. So if you could tie that into the pool reception, it's already there, the washrooms, the lockers, everything's already there. And the people could just walk straight through, just check in, pay their fee and go. The other option, like I said, you could have it across the road here, you could do it that way, but then, yeah, you'd have to have dedicated staff there. Like I said, there's not a lot of work to the upkeep because it was very clean inside. Nobody's bringing in dirty boots or anything like that to play on that surface. And there's no maintenance that I could see. That's not like a pool where you have to add chemicals all day long and filters and everything. There's nothing there really other than to just have somebody there to let people in. There wasn't anyone on the inside that I seen. There wasn't more than one staff there. And she was happy and more or less just talking to the people just to get through the day, it looked like. So, yeah, like I said, I think that's the location is the pool. We're already paying staff to be there. It just kind of works out nice. But I don't think there's been a table to sit at. This has all been, for the most part, the conversation has just been over the phone or just caught, in opportune times. There hasn't been an actual sitting at the table. So I get what you're saying, but there hasn't been an actual conversation yet.
And I don't think the town picked the location. The builders came out to they drove actually. From my understanding, the town didn't pick the location either, and I could have misunderstood from the meetings that I've had with them, but they drove around the community and looked at different locations, and that's the location that the builder picked because of the convenience located beside the pool. Otherwise, the price of it would go up because you have to build a reception center, or a reception and a change room area.
Yeah, and if you were there, that's exactly what they had, that an existing facility, and they just connected it through to the dome. Aria,
So I still have a hard time with the location and tying it into the pool because I feel like that area down there is so saturated already with, yes, we have the Omniplex parking lot, but that also is the school parking lot. That's also overflow for the pool parking lot. Like, I went to the pool on a Wednesday at 10 a.m. and literally there was not one parking spot. So then you get people coming to play pickleball, soccer, whatever. Are they walking a kilometer to get to the clubhouse? Or are we building a new parking lot? And then in turn, would it just be cheaper to build a new clubhouse anyways?
So
You know
a
what I
lot of-
mean? So he said that the clubhouse that they built was $1 million. So it's like, if we have to then build additional parking, which is just a potential hypothetically, then wouldn't we rather just build a new clubhouse and pick a different location?
so once again, the drivers in this will be the town of Drayton Valley, because those are all their facilities. Okay, so they're the ones that are gonna pick the location in essence, is what's going, unless we're gonna try to encourage them to build it out here across the road. But the bottom line is we can't answer the questions that the town has to answer. And so they're gonna be doing the heavy lifting on this. as far as the location, the access, the parking, they know about all the issues you're talking about, are you? So, Dallas?
But we do have a rec board, and has this discussion happened at the rec board level at all? Have there been any meetings going on there, or how's that looking?
Glenn, are you the chairman of the rec board?
I am the chairman, and thankfully, we didn't talk about this, so we dodged a bullet on that first day. We were talking about the ice plant. That's, like I said, it's, I'm not a skater, I'm not a hockey fan, and now I got to deal with this ice plant. And I'm not a big fan of that at all, so, but yeah, that's going to be a $5.4 million touch, right, just to make ice, which is sad. But yeah.
That's good. I'm not a big fan of windmills either, Glenn, so. Carol, I'm not a big fan of windmills.
Does that mean you're a draft dodger?
You're getting better and better, Rudy. All right, I don't know what to say. Lee, are we done?
I just wanted to add that this is a question, could be put out to the community as far as the master plan, as far as getting public input, consultation that way. There's going to be a full survey going out to all the residents, so I think that it's a good question to put out there.
Okay. So I think we're done then today here, folks. Tomorrow will be decision day, and we'll have to sort through as much as we can. And just because we have so much in operating money, doesn't mean you have to spend it all either tomorrow. So you may want to keep some of it set aside, and you might want to transfer some of it to capital. I'm just throwing out different options. Just because you have a certain amount of money doesn't mean you just spend it. All right, motion to adjourn?
So what about strategic plan, any do's or don'ts?
On the what?
Strategic plan.
Strategic plan is the bigger picture for sure. But we have to get through the operating here at least. The strategic plan could be done before the capital expenditures because it ties into that anyway. You follow? Like your 5-year business plan has to be in line with this next year capital plan anyway. And so I'm saying we may want to think about the long-term strategy and then fit that in, because you're not going to start spending money till February or March anyway. Glenn, Dallas, any more comments?
Just adjournment.
You good?
Yeah, no, my only.
What's that?
Check. My only comment would be, 4 years ago, we did a strategic plan, and I was blindsided by it. So I just want to make sure that when we go into our strategic plan this time, that everybody's ready. Everybody's equipped. And I know Todd's coming in to lead us, and that's fantastic. That's the greatest step.
What's that?
Well, we're going to have a consultant come in and lead us.
Yes.
So I'm delighted by that.
Just what I mentioned that we should be doing the 5-year plan, but I also know if you plan more than a year, things will change. Domes never were a discussion last year, right? So here now you got domes in the discussion. And I find any long-term plans don't end up as a long-term plan. We've had area structure plans, and we have yet to have one that was actually fit what the long-term plan of them were. So yes, think long-term plan, think mostly next year's plan, and then each year after that, so that you have some sort of direction. But the world is changing faster than we can stay on top of it. Dallas, you trying to shut my mic off?
No, sir. I'll just use the NFL as an example. Multi-billion-dollar industry. They long-term plan. They create their plan. They stick to their plan. Things don't change. They change very little. So we can kind of get in that groove too and get good at this. It's not that complicated.
Shane, you guys just don't want to go, do you?
I wanted to make a motion.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Oh, discussion? All those in favor? You voting now, Rudy? Yeah.